I cannot hear you if you are speaking.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Alright, where do I change the name? I think I have
the if you go to the Twitch dashboard, there's like an edit title option that should be there. It looks like a little purple like pencil.
Yeah, it must be an editor. Oh well.
Oh, you don't have the permissions for it.
Here. I guess we just will be silent until it finishes running.
Starcraft calling from the void. Young and old gamers deployed. FSL battles in the night. Team League warriors take flight. Terran zealot ready to strike. Surdling swarm under moonlight. Protoss eyes bright as gold. Legend stories brave and bold. Charge the fields ready to fight. Masters of the star shining bright. In the game we find our light. High hearts burning through the night. Terran zealot ready to strike. Masters of the star shining bright. In the game we find our light. High hearts burning through the night. Structures rise, defenses fall. Victory sweet, we answer the call. Tactics sharp and plans precise. We face our fate, roll the dice. Intense drumming, the heartbeat sink. Pop punk screaming on the brink. Tension builds with each move. Proving battles we improve. Charge the fields ready to fight. Masters of the star shining bright. In the game we find our light. High hearts burning through the night. Turn sailor ready to strike. Masters of the star shining bright. In the game we find our light. High hearts burning through the night. High hearts burning through the night. Intense drumming, a heartbeat sink. Pop punk screaming on the brink. Tension builds with each move. Proving battles we improve. Charge the fields ready to fight. Masters of the star shining bright. In the game we find our light. High hearts burning through the night. Turn sailor ready to strike. Masters of the star shining bright. In the game we find our light. High hearts burning through the night. High hearts burning through the night. High hearts through the night.
We're live. What's up? What's up?
Hey, sorry about that. Hello. Alright, we're just still getting a few things ready, but we're just about done.
Yeah, we can do interviews. Let me know if the players are ready.
So far, we're... But as for interviews, we can definitely start with... Let's see here.
Okay.
There we
Let's
go.
see,
Okay.
we're on camera for the stream.
Yeah.
MaxPax is in game now. I'm still waiting for him to join the Discord though.
Well, you want to start with instability and MaxPax?
Well, yeah, when we get MaxPax into voice.
Yeah, he's
fair
here.
enough.
I'm here.
Alright, I'm
There
gonna
we
put
go.
the cameras on for
Okay.
those that are
Alright, welcome.
available.
Okay.
Looks like this should work for me. I see the VOD now.
And is Rage also still here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Perfect.
You can
Cool.
click
So we'll start.
Camera?
So we'll do a quick 1-minute interview, and then we'll go over what we're going to be doing for the game. So essentially, the interview is just going to be just a minute. We'll talk to the pro and the Joe, and we'll let them introduce themselves.
I don't think
You
I
wanna
can
start
hear the
start off
VOD
with
though,
any questions I can throw
unfortunately.
them?
Let me check
Some
one
basics.
thing
I'll
though.
explain the premise first of all.
Sure.
Okay. Are we officially started now? I see we've been on camera for a while. Just need to get Revenant Rage on camera too. All right.
Yeah, it looks like the VOD that you're streaming, I can't get the audio from.
Okay, and I'm on audio as well. Welcome to everyone
Alright.
watching.
Let me see if I can
This is
just
a
give it a link.
special FSL Pros and Joes competition. So we have 4 just synchronizing here.
Okay. You're on 1050, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I think the link I
Alright.
sent you was 1 second ahead. All
All
right,
right.
should we synchronize? 3, 2, 1, go. Fantastic.
Oh boy.
Pro StarCraft 2 players.
Oh boy.
We have MaxPax, Spirit, Cham, and Gerald, and each of them will be teaming with one of our casual FSL players in a series of 2v2 bouts. We're going to be doing this GSL style.
Ooh,
Going to be match A,
2v2s with the
match B,
pros.
winner match, loser match, and decider match.
Yeah, this is a blast.
And first of
you'll
all,
recognize
let me
some of the
introduce
faces
our
too.
good friend Instability, who is going to be teaming with MaxPax. And Instability, you specifically requested this player. Have you been following his career?
To an extent, yeah. Mainly I just like his play style a lot. It helped me learn how to play PvP better.
Okay, awesome. And then we've got Revenant Rage. He has been one of our up-and-coming FSL players. He has been captaining his own team, and he will be joining Spirit.
Okay.
Anything you'd like them to know about yourself?
Definitely try not to judge me too harshly.
No judgment
go.
here. And as our default judges, let's start with MaxPax. Welcome. MaxPax and Spirit, neither of them are on camera right now, but they will definitely make their presence known. And MaxPax,
Yeah,
have you ever done
Hello.
you ever done any Pro versus Joe competitions?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Okay. And Spirit, you're joining us as well.
Yes.
Any thoughts? Yeah.
I have no idea so far what's gonna happen.
Okay, great. Well, then we will wing it. No problem there. First of all, I just
Yeah,
want to.
we're gonna do our best. You go ahead.
You bet. And yeah, Dirkit, your webcam is.
Yeah, it just went off. I have no idea what
Looks
happened.
looks like nuclear meltdown over there. but we will wing it. So first of all, this is each of these rounds is going to be best of 3 on the current 2v2 ladder. And can we, Spirit and MaxPax, I know you're very familiar with vetoing and choosing maps. Do you know which 2v2 maps we want to go with for these 2, potentially 3 matches?
Yeah, you guys can chat to each other and just
Sure.
give us the list.
Yep. So the available maps right now are the new maps of Arctic Flowers, Breakwater, Crimson Research Lab, Undercurrent, and Yellow Jacket, and the returning maps from previous seasons of Emerald City, Reclamation, Riskalion, and Rohana. So, MaxPax and Spirit, if you're not as familiar with the 2v2 map pool, you can feel free to pass the decision over to your teammates.
What's the race of my teammate?
Play Protoss mostly.
Mm.
Yep, I believe, and instability, I believe you're Protoss as well.
Yeah, I think you can choose. The best maps for us will be if we stay
Okay.
kinda close to each other, I guess.
All
Sure.
right, so instability. If you want to pick MaxPax's map, Spirit's just checking out the current maps, and he'll get back to us in just 1 minute.
Yeah, I don't think we have to do vetoes necessarily here. How about
Yeah, you can do it afterwards.
how about
Yep.
Rhett and instability? I think you're muted.
I was.
No problem there. So
Actually, I would rather not pick the maps if at all possible.
No, that's fair
Okay.
enough.
All right.
All right.
Game
So-
one. You casters, why don't you pick one, and I'm sure they can pick something for the next game too.
well, we want to go with one where people are nice and close together. I would
Audio?
say that
Rascallion seems like a good one.
okay.
Rascallion.
Rascallion.
All right, let's get Spirit back in here.
Yes, I think that's a good pick.
All right.
Perfect.
All right. Well,
Rascallion. And then on the other side, what kind of map are we shooting for? I can give you a general breakdown of what we've got. I think in general, the biggest thing that comes down to is how close do you really want to be together, and how wide open do you want the middle of the map to be?
well, you know what? They can decide that after game one. You know, let's play the
Okay,
game
sure.
one. And
Or
Okay,
like a
well,
loser
Revan-
pick, or
Yeah.
Yep.
Revenant Rage is
That makes
recommending
sense.
Undercurrent for map 2. Would that be alright?
loser pick. Let them pick the loser picks. That way it's fair.
Okay, we will go with that. All right. Are we? We are making this up on the fly to
That's
everyone
right.
watching. So I hope that's as entertaining as any of the matches will be. So we are
Hey.
ready to get everyone into their separate chat rooms.
And while you do that, I will try and find Spirit and get him back in the party.
Yes, indeed.
Here, I just suggested them to party.
Oh, perfect. There we go.
All right, we'll be stepping out for this, and we're going to be doing a nice clean stream for the moment. And to everyone, good luck, have fun. We're going to mute ourselves for now. Hello to everyone watching. This is Hyper Turtle.
And this is Bull Milja. Oh, excuse me.
This-
Sorry to cut you off.
Only I get to say that you're Gomyoja. Okay, you're Bulmilja, okay? How about you tell them who
All
I
right.
am?
And you're Hyper Turtle.
I am indeed. We're killing a little bit of time. This is pre-recorded VOD, but we're going to be adding our special Minnesota Barcraft brand of casting on here. So, as they introduced, this is a 2v2 competition with people from the Casual League FSL joining some notable pros.
And MaxPax Spirit, pretty good teammates. I've played a lot of 2v2s in my life, and I can pretty confidently say that none of my teammates have been nearly as good as either of these players.
I definitely
So
haven't been when I've teamed with you, so yeah, hats
Yeah.
off to them. The other two who will be involved are Cham and Gerald. So we'll be seeing them a little later.
You are watching.
Also, a couple of really good, teammates. Yeah, I've played with some people who tried to make in-base 6 racks work. I've played with some people who tried to cannon rush the wrong main base. So it'll be nice for Instability and Revenant Rage to have somebody who's got a pretty solid idea of what they're doing.
Definitely. I don't think a lot of these people have as much experience with 2v2 as, say, Revenant Rage and Instability do, but as much as the maps might be a little bit new to them in some cases, I think they're going to be pretty competent. So
Well, it definitely helps to just have the skill set to make buildings and units. That carries you pretty far, as it turns
Pretty
out.
much. I mean, no matter what the map is, you're still playing StarCraft 2. And I want to add Revenant Rage, Instability, War Bunnies, and Sergeant ABC. They all put in a little bit of money to get their teammates to make the time worth their while. We're planning to do a bit more of this in the future. And this
Very
will
nice.
be...
Always appreciate people throwing in their own money on StarCraft events.
Absolutely, and we're at an awkward little time right now where 2025 is really kind of up in the air as far as announcements go. So people have the time right now.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
All right, we are off. I'm going to be introducing the players in a special FSL manner. In the lower right, we have our green, Protoss. She is
Instability.
And her professional teammate, the purple Protoss. He is
MaxPax.
Their opponents, the yellow Protoss. He is
Revenant Rage.
And his professional teammate, the Terran in the light blue. He is
Spirit.
Here we go. So a lot of the people on the pro side at least have some association with Psystorm Gaming, either currently or in the past.
And I assume Instability and Revenant Rage are both FSL participants.
They are indeed.
A little bit higher level competition, I assume, here than it normally is in the FSL for someone at this level. But some things never change, and Spirit proxying 2 barracks is well,
yes, indeed. So they're
a little bit
going
of
to
bullying, I would say.
try to take an early advantage. Well, you know all about bullying, Bulmioja.
That's right.
I keep practicing that. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's, judging by where they are, it's going to be Proxy Reaper. There is a jump spot in the back.
A fun fact about almost every team map is that the Reaper cliffs are just absolutely insane, and there is just no reliable way to cut Reapers off on team maps, especially if someone can micro halfway decently. You can see here that Instability is making a pylon behind the smoke at the back cliff to spot for this sort of thing exactly. But unfortunately, you can also just hop up from that low ground to the natural and then directly to the main.
Just take the low road. But yeah, it's an interesting one. This map has what is both a Reaper jump spot and a blind spot. So it's definitely somewhere to pay attention to.
Yeah. Good for drops later on as well. to be able to drop behind that smoke and then stim in, for example, onto your opponent's mineral line.
And you will see
Causes
that
a lot
Rage,
of problems.
Yeah, Revenant Rage is looking at joining with his own proxy, but he's running a little bit behind.
Well, they do use the combined adepts of MaxPax and Instability to get one Reaper there, but one Reaper is sort of just the start of the problems.
Indeed. 2 adepts are always better than 1. Except in late game, I suppose.
Yeah, Max trying to kind of position conservatively, not commit the adepts too far in one direction, because if you look at that little area behind the minerals in the natural, it's so far away from the other side where the Reapers want to jump up behind that smoke. So really, it's if you're caught too far down there, the Reapers have a pretty short distance to just run to the other side.
Yeah, the more players, typically the bigger the maps, and the more places you have to worry about defending. Here we go. 3 Reapers looking to hop back up.
Yeah, and unfortunately, this isn't seen until the Reapers are right on top of the probes, because the vision is pretty limited, just the Nexus and the Natural giving vision there. So Instability forced to pull all the probes once again. Does shade the Adepts on top of the Reapers.
And this was one of the participants going ahead and subscribing. This is KJ's
Big shout out
here.
to Sergeant ABC.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we know him well in both FSL and Minnesota Barcraft as far as the Discord goes.
Here come the Stalkers from Revenant Rage that are going to be joining forces with the Reapers now to just try to target these units down. He did go for just a 4-gate here with 1 proxied gate, which is going to be pretty strong. And I think Max will have the ability to hold on for a little while, but even against a lower ranked opponent, if they just have more stuff than you, it's pretty tough to win fights, as it turns out, especially when there's no Blink Micro involved. The next Warpin has come in, and it looks like actually this may be maybe enough for Spirit and Revenant Rage to kind of snowball the remainder of the game. The battery is going to just go down, and unfortunately, Instability not feeling very confident. Not feeling very confident to engage. Now comes in to try to sandwich this army a little bit.
Instability coming from behind, yes.
They are taking a decent fight, but the Cyclone, the Cyclone is going to add a significant amount of DPS onto those Stalkers. MaxPax does blink forward and tries to get it. Unfortunately,
well, it almost made it. All right, Cyclone goes down.
Takes a lot more damage than it needed to. Unfortunately, the Stalkers of MaxPax before that was killed. But at this point, the big problem is that if you look across the map, Revenant Rage has absolutely no probes. He's down to 7 supply, now 5. Because a single Zealot just walked in and killed absolutely everything. That Zealot has 24 kills. And is about to get maybe 1 or 2 more.
Yeah,
it does pick up 2 more kills in Spirit's Natural before it's satisfied. Maybe the most successful single Zealot in all of StarCraft history.
Anything is possible. Revenant Rage currently with only 35 minerals. He's not going to be able to do anything with that unless Spirit sends something his way. But Spirit not too rich himself. We have Max.
Now that Max has Blink Stalkers, yeah, he's really going to be able to try to, start leveraging this advantage. And Spirit knows that if all of the units of his opponent are on the high ground, well, it's over.
That 1 tank on the high ground was only going to handle so long. So they agree to move on to map 2. And then we get
the little Zealot that could.
Oh boy, that was a Zealot who gets to tell some war stories back on Iron, no doubt.
Yeah, I think when the conduit finally opened and warped him back to Ire after taking injuries, he had a smile on his face. Or theoretically so, because Protoss cannot smile.
Oh, you gotta see it in their eyes. It's that twinkle.
It's the twinkle of psionic energy that gives them away.
Yeah, you just feel that smile on the Kala. And one thing I want to point out, Instability quite a bit higher ranked than Revenant Rage. A bit more experience too. So she's a bit ahead of Revenant Rage, and MaxPax, of course, very highly ranked Protons. So they're quite the team.
Well, in that game, it seemed like really the only thing that honestly made made it untenable to continue was the zealot, and had Revenant Rage just not taken as much damage from that zealot, maybe was able to expand or at least just continue producing stalkers. There may have been a world where the game ended differently.
There
but
is a whole multiverse out there, and I'm very thankful that it's not being exploited for live service purposes. But anyway.
Well, yet.
All right. So, and the other thing I think is just that Spirit, he started his attack, and Revenant Rage didn't have the proxy really up and running just yet.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to,
yeah, it's you obviously got to go early with Reapers, just because they fall off rather rapidly as the unit counts go up. So you really got to be active with those. But the disadvantage, obviously, is once your opponent does have maybe a battery, 6 to 7 stalkers, Reapers just really struggle to stay in prolonged fights.
Next map will be the lush forests of Rohana. I love the description for the map. The descriptions tend to be scarce, but that one is just Rohana does not mean family.
Rohana does not mean family.
We have the green Protoss she is.
Instability.
And her teammate, the Protoss in the purple he is.
MaxPax.
Their opponents, the blue Protoss he is.
Revenant Rage.
And his teammate, the Terran in the red he has.
Spirit.
There we go. So, we're hoping to do quite a few of these, and actually we've got quite a few pros who have said they're interested, so we're just kind of ironing out how to handle it. One of the big obstacles being that a lot of our Joes are in America, and a lot of our pros are in Europe.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a difficult time with time zones for sure. Makes it a little bit challenging, but it's interesting content. I'm surprised. I've always sort of been surprised that some of the bigger StarCraft content creators haven't jumped on something like this as an opportunity to just create content. You see similar type stuff in the sense that you'll see someone do like a 1v3 gold leaguers or a 1v 2 right 1v2 diamond or something like that.
So MaxPax,
but yeah, something like this where they're cooperating is nice.
Yeah, I was noticing that probe way up there, and it looks like Revenant Rage is indeed going for another proxy. Possibly a Stargate one this time?
That could be. He is also full walled. Learning the lesson from the last game that he can't afford to let a single zealot in. And is saying, what better way to keep a zealot out than just making my buildings to cover the ramp? And honestly, I'm not being sarcastic when I say that's actually, I think, the best adjustment that he could have made. Because in my opinion, nothing is more reliable than just a giant wall of 1,000 HP to buy you a little bit of time against a single zealot.
I would say so. You see, Instability, she always makes a habit of spraying the Protoss logo on her main ramp. That's part of her build order. You will never see her miss putting that spray down.
Ooh, Spirit actually missed microing the Reaper a little bit, and is going to lose it. Nearly also led the Adept Shade to the proxy location of Revenant Rage, but luckily did...
that would have been trouble.
Did die right before that happened. And yeah, 2 proxied gates here with the 2 at home. It means this is going to be just another straight-up 4 gate.
Alright, well, there's going to be a little bit of a walk that anything he sends in is going to have to go for. But they definitely figure that the early game is when they're going to have the best chance to take the win.
And this little skirmish is going to go to the advantage of Spirit and Revenant Rage, as they do take out those 2 Adepts. Does lose a Marine, but this Cyclone should actually be able to track this Stalker down and kill it. which is going to be really good value because that Cyclone obviously should not take really any significant damage here. Going to try to get to the high ground to break that lock on, but it's just not going to happen in time.
Is not going to make it.
Now the alarm bells are kind of going off. MaxPax dropping a robo, a battery, trying to just get whatever he can to defend. But this is a pretty scary army here, and he's going to have to pull the probes preemptively.
Right. Cyclone being joined by 6 Stalkers, which more on the way.
Battery does go down. Guardian Shield is really quite nice for the Sentry. It does offer a significant amount of armor, but the problem here is there's just not that many units remaining quite yet for Revenant Rage, who does warp in 4 more Stalkers to come from the east side here.
Well, they are going to be joining, but he can't warp them in very close to where he's attacking. That's the big issue here.
The Robo is done for MaxPax too, but he's just really spending all of his resources as quickly as possible, so doesn't have the money just yet for the Immortal. Medevac is going to offer some micro opportunity, but unfortunately does not get the pickup on that Cyclone.
Right now, Revenant Rage and Spirit, a little bit ahead in supply, but their opponents are catching up pretty quickly.
Yeah, with the Immortal out especially, that Immortal is just going to offer so much DPS from instability. Blinks forward and gets another Cyclone. Yeah, and it is just hammering these Stalkers. Yes. The barrier gets activated. Oof. Yeah, and he really cannot afford to stick around here.
Here comes the other waves, and he's just going to send them away.
Back at home, Spirit does have a tank, and that tank sieged up could offer a little bit of opportunity to defend here. But the problem is that this blink is happening before the siege is up, and he's just going to blink forward on top of it, I think, here, and be able to get this tank. Oh no, and I think this might actually be another loss. Yeah, the SCVs are fighting against against Stalkers and an Immortal. It's not looking too good. Revenant Rage not really able to get too many units to be produced here. The tank does get good damage on the Immortal, which does ultimately go down here. Instability trying to blink forward and get it, but is not able to.
Here we have
Spirit going to repair that tank.
MaxPax has what Revenant Rage did not, a Warp Prism.
Well, he's also forced, unfortunately, to kill his own gateway just to get out of the main base because he recalled Stalkers from the other side of the map, and then they were trapped inside. Now, the one thing that is going for Spirit here that looks quite nice is that he does have Cloak about to finish for his Banshees, and a couple of Cloaked Banshees could certainly do quite a bit of damage. My guess is that that's also true. My guess is that he will probably try to target instability with those Banshees, assuming that she's going to have a tougher time than the best Protoss player in the world at microing against them, and I think that's a pretty safe bet.
And instability and MaxPax are cleaning up Revenant Rage's proxies, so that's even more stuff he has to rebuild.
Yeah, things are looking a little bit rough for Revenant Rage right now, but the nice thing is that he does have this expansion going up. It's a fairly easy to defend natural here, but the problem is this Prism, I think, is going to cause a big problem. Because not only is it going to allow for quick reinforcements, but it's going to allow Max to do this and dance in and out with 4 Stalkers to one-shot probes. And I think Revenant Rage is going to quickly become the victim of MaxPax once again. He's just going to target down his economy and then run away in the Prism without really losing anything.
Blink in combination with Prism means they can just keep disappearing and reappearing.
Yeah, that's about your worst nightmare, I think, if you're going up against Max, is that he has Blink, you don't, and he has a Prism. The recall is happening now because there is actually harassment going down on the other side of the map with those Cloaked Banshees. Instability actually does get a kill on that Banshee, though, so very well done that both of them had observers in position. Blink Stalkers as well. That is kind of exactly what you would want to use to defend against Cloaked Banshees, so very well done.
MaxPax, Dark Shrine just about to complete. That's trouble.
Yeah, a Dark Shrine actually is a good choice in games like this, where your opponent is, behind on tech in the case of Revenant Rage and stuck on 2 orbitals, as is Spirit. You're gonna have a limited number of stands. You maybe aren't going to be too eager to spend a lot of your money on missile turrets, right? Because you're already kind of feeling like you're behind. You're trying to cut corners just to make the game work. So DTs can actually be quite a solid play here, especially considering that the odds of Spirit producing those 2 Cloak Banshees and then having the gas left over that he wants to spend on a Raven pretty low here. Now, there is an Observer of Max over this just to confirm. Yep, there's no detection here. I know that I'm going to be able to walk right in. Immortal finishes. The Revenant Rage should put an Observer, there he goes, on the production tab as soon as possible, and in fact he does. The problem is that these DTs are going to get some damage before that happens, unfortunately.
Completely split up. There's an Observer on the way. And the infantry, at least, the Marines do have both combat shields and stim now.
Ooh, Spirit taking a lot of damage from the DTs as well, unfortunately. Not able to scan just yet. And there's the scan to clean up that DT, but unfortunately, Revenant Rage lost a lot of his SCVs, or his probes rather, in the natural.
Yep, Revenant Rage's probes have been an endangered species this entire series, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it's not a fun time to be a probe in the command of this army, unfortunately. Revenant Rage pokes out and sees the massive ball of Blink Stalkers here. A Spirit does try to send out a double drop here. The Marines aren't, as crucial to the defense of the Blink Stalkers, so you can afford for those to go out, just trusting that the tanks and the entrenched position that he's created here with this bunker and the depots is going to be sufficient. And 16 Marines with Stim on the other side of the map can go through mineral lines pretty quick.
And let's just take a moment to look at the supply. MaxPax way up in 158 supply right now. And instability still ahead of Spirit and Revenant Rage, twice what Revenant Rage has.
Yeah, and Max is going to clean up this small bio ball on the right side, it looks like. Spirit's going to try to save what he can, but unfortunately leaves a few men behind and is going to have to evacuate those medevacs as soon as possible. He does drop on the left side of Instability's base and does get really, really good economic damage, but he does lose all of his medevacs to those Blink Stalkers, unfortunately. The recall is going to come in of just some Zealots, so those medevacs not in danger.
Well,
but the warp in the main base of Blink Stalkers ensures that they...
those in.
+2 on the way for Max. Here's quite nice, as well as Thermal Lance finishing up and Shadow Stride, DT Blink. Just basically all of the tech that he can afford to get and that Revenant Rage can only dream of at this point because he's still stuck on 2 base. Just now kind of getting fully saturated again after the slaughter of his probes earlier.
Supply blocked as well. So yeah,
unfortunately so.
MaxPax supply block just because he is MaxPaxed out. That entire army gathering up on the enemy's doorstep right now with instability as troops following close behind. That is a lot of Zealots we got right now.
It's going to be tough, I think, to deal with all of these charge lots and Blink Stalkers. I mean, this is just such a huge attack. The Prism goes into the main at the same time, ensuring that even if the fight here goes well for Spirit, which it doesn't look like it's going to, he's going to lose his main as well.
I love the setup.
The Blink Stalkers just washing over.
Behind the supply depots, but yep, they are just overpowered. And that is MaxPax instability taking that game. And there is going to be a brief interview here. As they gradually unmute, I think. All right, congratulations to our Match A winners. Guys, we're very much in sync throughout.
Especially in that second game, I saw, like, Instability. Was MaxPax giving you advice, or were you giving MaxPax advice? Because you guys played pretty in sync.
He basically told me what to do the entire game, and the only struggle was trying to keep up with it.
Yeah. Well, I was looking at MaxPax's camera for a bit, and I'm like, it's just a blur. But you did really good.
Yep, it is a thing of beauty. So the two of you will be moving on to the winners match. MaxPax, you got any thoughts about your teamwork?
Well, I think it went pretty good. I was kind of surprised at how well it went. I wasn't expecting too much, but
Nothing to complain about. Yeah, Instability has definitely shown some good work in FSL, especially in the 2v2 league. So we're gonna be having you guys step aside until the winners match. Next up, however, we have Sergeant ABC and Cham against Gerald and War Bunnies. I'm gonna get them into the chat right now.
so we'll wait a bit now.
Yep, if you want to just
Yeah.
hang to the side and hang out with Instability, or
Yes, indeed.
and just so you guys know, your next winners match will be a best of 5.
Oh, that I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Losers is best of 3, but that will
Oh,
be on
all right. That's how it works. Got it.
stream.
And what happens after the winners match?
So there's going to be the losers match, then the deciders match, just like in GSL. So
Yeah, he's done.
the losers
Basically,
will
when
take
you
each
win the
other on,
winners
and
match,
then the
you're good.
people who came up short in the winners match and losers match
Yep.
will have a final match.
Winners of the winners is first place, so you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get the next game going, guys.
Will do. I'm just
And
gonna
welcome
try and
to-
get the Joes in here as well.
Yeah. For some reason I can't drag them. There we go. All right, we got everyone now?
Yep.
All right. Sergeant and War Bunnies, I know you two have both had a long drive home. Let me unmute everyone, too. Can we do that?
Cham's on a phone call
Yeah,
right now.
I'm here.
Oh,
Hello, guys.
that's all right.
Hey, Cham. No, he's okay.
Good. I'm pumped to win with my partner.
I just hit gold. I'm really excited. I think I'm gonna do good. We'll see.
Well, I
We'll
believe
see.
in you.
Y'all come
Yep.
communication, brother.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why War
we're
Bunnies
gonna
do
do
that.
great things. We're gonna do great things.
Yeah.
All right, so this is fun stuff. Aside from Cham, fantastic player from Latin America, and Gerald, who has been a very dominant figure in the Little Stormy Cups, I believe it is. We've got a couple pals of mine, War Bunnies, who has been a longtime neighbor of mine. We were playing the original StarCraft when it first came out. He's a member of my group, Minnesota Barcrafts, as is Sergeant ABC. So I know the two of you are very familiar with team matches. And War Buddies, can we get you on camera?
I am on camera.
Oh, you are?
Aren't I? I'll restart. Hold on a second.
No problem.
How's that?
Sergeant, yep, let's give a quick introduction. Tell the audience at home about yourself.
I got 4 kids altogether. Married. I have been private security for quite a bit. Military for 10 years. Still active right now, and I've been playing this since '98. I played the beta, not the beta. The what is it?
The shareware?
No, the demo. I played the demo.
Yep, the shareware demo
when
that came with the
came out.
magazines.
And I think also Warcraft was also the demo on it too.
Yeah.
And I got out of it a while ago. Came back into it this March. Started playing 1v1s, and I've been in silver since March. And today, I broke through silver, and I am now gold. So we'll see how this goes.
Okay.
I play Zerg. I'm a big Zerg fan.
War Bunnies has been with our FSL group for a while. Sergeant is just joining us for the first time this season, and he has been doing our team league.
And
And
War
here, I'm
Bunny
gonna-
also participated in the the 1v2 Pro versus Joe's against DNS, was it not?
Yes.
It was,
Yeah,
along with
yes.
fellow Barcraft member Empire.
Fire. Yeah. So we did pretty good on that.
Well, what's your opinion aside from playing against them with a friend instead
Yeah.
of having one of them as a friend in a 2v2?
So we play with a GM player not infrequently, and I always, when I'm playing with them against other GM players, I always feel like I'm too slow to keep up. But against a balanced team like against Sarge, I think that at least one of us isn't going to be moving at 500 APM. So yeah, it's different trying to just keep up and not slow down the much better player. But I'm hoping to have some fun and win a couple games and show what we can do.
Good. And we've got Cham and Gerald here. Have you guys had a chance to talk with your teammates? I think they only just got home.
Yeah, just got home. Just wake up actually. It's a long day usually.
Oh, boy.
I work so much. But yeah, I'm excited to play. This is like a new format. I think it's the first time I play. It's gonna be interesting how how the games go. I'm worried that the Zerg in 2v2 is like the worst combo, but just because of the race and the tactics. But I'm still think it's gonna be a good match.
Yeah, if you're both Zerg, at least you don't have to worry about the creep getting in the way of the buildings. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, we're gonna have MaxPax, right? It's over the.
Well, as they say, play like Sarah.
Yeah.
And I'm getting people into party right now.
And so, Cham, have you also decided or talked to your teammate about game one?
Oh, just a little bit, mostly introduction to meet each other, but probably after this we're gonna talk about some shots maybe.
Okay, well, I was gonna say because it's loser
we
picks next
also-
map, so.
Yeah, well, I think, I gotta say, I think War Bunny's a little bit more familiar with the maps than anyone else who's currently on here, unless, do the pros have any preferences for which 2v2 maps they prefer?
I'm fine with any guys of your choosing, any maps of your choosing.
Okay, War Bunnies, what's your favorite 2v2 map right now?
Is it the ones in the map pool or last season? Are we
The
playing
ones
with?
in the current map pool.
Ooh.
Although there were a few they brought over from the previous one.
I gotta look at the map. Well, I can't see it now. Why can't I see
It's
the
alright.
map?
For next one, the admins
Alright, let
will
me,
get the other teams
get
ready
this.
for the map.
The available
selections.
maps are Arctic Flowers, Breakwater, Crimson Research Lab, Emerald City, Reclamation, Rascallion, Rohana, Undercurrent, and Yellow Jacket.
Man, I haven't seen Emerald City in a while.
We haven't heard from Gerald.
Might be
What do
your
you guys think?
chance.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gerald?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear a question.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Actually, I believe I forgot to introduce you myself. So, Gerald, like, have you had a chance to talk to your teammate yet?
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about tactic for this for this match. I'm pretty excited about this because I didn't play format like that before. So.
Well, you've always been very accommodating when it comes to playing in any event we throw your way, so.
Yep.
And same with you, Sergeant. Are you excited to play with Gerald?
He's with War Bunnies.
Oh, sorry. War Bunny.
Yes, I'm with
Sorry,
Gerald.
my bad.
Yeah, so I'm very excited. I'm actually a big fan of Gerald's. I like watching him in all the size stuff, and I always pull for him whenever I see him in the weeklies or the other various tournaments you get to see him in from time to time. So, yeah, since he's got a connection with Psystorm, I always try to get his games. So I like his style.
All right, and Sergeant, I'm inviting you to party right now. And you guys can talk to your teammates too. But do we have an agreement on which map to start on?
Do we want to go Nightscape? I mean, that's just kind of a standard map.
They took that out of the map pool, I'm afraid.
Oh.
All right. Emerald City?
Yeah,
Since
sure.
That's the only
Emerald
one I've
City.
heard anyone mention.
Yeah,
All
Emerald
right,
City's
let's
fine.
follow the yellow brick road and get going.
Have the
All right,
trophy.
good luck to everyone. Yep.
I didn't hear any chat or talking in the Twitch stream, so
Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's
the Twitch
that
stream.
could be an issue later. KJ,
Yep.
if you look into that. All right, I'm gonna divide people up into their rooms.
Perfect.
Awesome. Good luck.
Good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Yeah, the stream's fine. He was just talking about commentary.
Okay,
All right.
KJ, need you to. Oh.
Emerald City.
Yeah. Hey. Now's the perfect time to start developing some little tie-ins to Wicked, right?
Yeah, that's real. That's what's gonna skyrocket StarCraft 2 is those Wicked tie-ins.
I've seen worse. I've seen worse product placement in video games anyway.
Oh, I believe that.
Much worse. But yeah, where to be going in? Emerald City. So Sergeant ABC on Cham's team, Gerald on the team of War Bunnies. This is fun stuff. You heard War Bunnies mention that there was some unnamed GM that he's played a lot of team matches alongside.
I wonder who that guy is.
Someone whose name is tough for people to pronounce without practice, I think.
That could be anybody.
Yeah, it could be.
That could be anybody.
Anyway, Sergeant ABC has been getting into StarCraft a lot more over the last year. I was tutoring him on co-op a bit, but then he jumped into the FSL, and he's been showing some pretty good improvement. But he's definitely not. He's definitely a ways behind War Bunnies anyway.
You are watching FSL.
And this will be 2 Zergs against 2 Protoss.
Yeah, usually Zerg considered to be a bit weaker in 2v2, and double Zerg especially kind of, I think, struggles. Just because there's sort of not there's not a single sort of well-rounded ultra late game comp that can carry them.
Zerg.
Sergeant ABC.
His teammate, the other blue Zerg, he is
Cham.
Their opponents, the Protoss in the red, he is
War Bunnies.
And his teammate, the purple Protoss,
Gerald.
So as far as 2 Zergs in teams, is the big issue that you can't really wall off right away?
Not so much that you can't wall off, but the things that you struggle with are just that often breaking entrenched positions is a little bit difficult when it's a 2v2 scenario, because the size of the army of your opponents is just much bigger because you have 2 players, right? And the other part is just that ultra late game for Terran, you've got battle cruisers, or you've got mech, tanks, and for Protoss you've got carriers, tempests, storm, kind of compositions that are all arounders that can fight anything that your opponent makes. Zerg doesn't really have that same composition that you can just always reliably make, that no matter what is going to be at least capable of trading against your opponent.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a little difficult. The advantage is in the very, very early game, I think, for Zerg, where maybe a double speedling bust, or
Eliminate one
banelings
of
plus
your
roaches,
and then gang up on
yeah,
the other.
you can get away with something like that, I think.
I remember I got the replicas of the battle cruiser, the carrier, and the broodlord from Dark Horse.
Yes.
And I'm putting them next to each other. I'm like, all right, now I can have a 3-way space battle. And then I'm thinking, oh, this poor broodlord can actually attack the other two. It can only attack ground units.
Unfortunate. Maybe the secret is the broodlord just needs to attack the stand to get them to fall over.
You know, I should try that the next time I have those out of the boxes. So Cham does have 6 lings here, being met by a Zealot and Adept. And
yeah, the expansion for War Bunnies is down, which is nice. Gerald looks like he's about to try to take his expand as well.
Indeed.
Speed just about to finish for Cham, about 2/3 of the way done for Sarge.
This is one of the maps where, yeah, there's one ramp leading to the mains, but there's 2 different paths into the natural area. There is also a gold base on either side of the map, which might come in.
The lings from Sergeant ABC starting to meet up here as his ling's speed finishes as well. So these 2 different balls of lings going to be combining here
into one big ball.
That's right.
And as you were saying, I mean, you know, what's worse than a ling flood? A double ling flood, right? As long as there's stuff that you
luckily
can-
War Bunnies does have a very well-positioned battery on the high ground that allows the Adepts to do some fighting on the low ground and still get healed. The Oracle of War Bunnies is also here just to take some pot shots at the lings. So those are forced to retreat here. Pretty well done, honestly, thus far.
There's that gold I was talking about. Sergeant ABC actually taking it. That side.
The battery's gonna eventually run out of juice, but the fight is bad enough for Cham that he turns around before it does. The energy overcharge on the Oracle just giving it enough energy to continue to use Pulsar Beam and kill those lings with impunity. And the Void Ray is cleaning up so many Overlords also for free here.
Energy overcharge, one of the exciting new abilities in StarCraft 2 alongside Lunge.
Good old nanomuscular swell.
Yep. Yeah,
Unfortunately, now that War Bunny's Adepts are dead, he is, I think, going to actually lose this expansion.
Right, that Void Ray does not make very quick with the legs.
And now that this Oracle of Gerald shows up, I think it's wise for Cham to back there. So War Bunnies does keep a hold of the expansion for now.
Both ling groups still kind of hanging out in the middle of the map, but Gerald's Oracle giving chase.
Ooh, does get us around on this Stalker and cleans that up, unfortunately. Has to pay for it with a few lings. Does get a couple probes as well. Gets out.
Yeah,
and Sarge was very aggressive about expanding, which I like.
Right. We saw with Revenant Rage last map. In a 2v2, it can really pay off to cripple one player. So you're basically going 2 against 1. And unfortunately, the less skilled player tends to be both the easiest to hurt and the one that has less chance of getting back into as well. So that cuts down the income that comes out, that cuts down on the death balls. Ooh.
That's right.
And that gold...
Yeah, the Void Ray does find that gold.
Being picked at.
Yeah, unfortunately, Cham also going to lose an Overlord there to this Void Ray before it flies away.
But not losing the hatchery, at least not yet.
Yeah, just knowing it's there is quite valuable as well. Ooh, it flies the Void Ray right into a Spore that has recently experienced a little bit of a workout program and now deals 30 damage per shot instead of 20.
Yep, but also that work program lost it some weight, so it has less health as well.
Yeah, this Void Ray can't really fight the Queen by itself, so the Oracles are going to have to come in and use Pulsar Beam, which is very nice. Yeah, he does start putting damage on it, and I don't think this Queen is actually going to be able to get there in time to save it.
Prismatic Alignment has been activated.
And actually, the Queen is getting a little bit distracted by one of the Oracles here on the other side. So I think this Void Ray may have the chance to clear that hatchery, and the Oracles can, if need be, come back in to try to fight that Queen as well. And in fact, it does. blasts
Wow.
that queen down.
That's a very slow but painful death on behalf of that hatchery. Just gradually bleeding away.
Yeah, and Gerald does get the kill on it.
It is out of its misery, but look at Cham. And we saw him make full use of this when he was doing the pros versus Joes, where it was 2 against 1 for him.
Yeah, the Nidus, in any format is just such a good tool to be able to put pressure on your opponent, pull them out of position into multiple places at once. Sergeant ABC does get a great cancel on that Nexus on the low ground, so really well done by him. He's currently experiencing quite a severe supply block here as the Blink Stalkers from Gerald do come in. Sergeant does get a nice little wraparound on those Stalkers who are forced to blink away.
Good number of them intercepted. And Gerald
And unfortunately, these Hydras are just... The Hydras are just not in very high numbers, so they're actually not able to get a fight against the Stalkers that normally you want to avoid prolonged fights with Hydralisks if you're the Blink Stalker player, but they're in low enough number that he's done okay. But now that the Lings of Sarge have come back, they're going to get the pin on these Stalkers and clean them up. So actually very well done by both players to kind of coordinate the defense there. Gerald was able to get some drones, but
not far away enough. We do have Storm being researched on behalf of Gerald. And a fleet beacon is almost complete for our friend Warbunnies.
yeah, he's going to be looking to get into Sky Toss, I think, most of the time, and it's a good choice against a double Zerg player. Obviously, the real only answer that you have as Zerg to answer a large Sky Toss army is going to be Viper Corruptor, something that I think Sarge would probably struggle with. And the nice thing for Warbunnies is that Gerald can kind of support him in terms of controlling that Corruptor Viper army. So. We'll see what this Nidus is able to get done here. It has been seen now. At least the attack has been seen by the Protoss team.
It's a very dreaded sound effect to hear. So if we have our instant reinforcements, just like a warp prison.
Yeah, the Void Rays aren't going to do so hot by themselves, but these Charge Lots and Storm are really what's going to make the defense possible. Ooh, Cham unfortunately sitting a little bit too long in those storms. I think probably distracted somewhere else momentarily, probably putting units in and out of that Nidus. He does take a decent trade now that most of these Zealots are gone, but I think there's just not enough Hydras here that are remaining to clean up the rest of this army, so he is forced to back out. Only saves a single Hydra there.
And the Nidus Worm does get eliminated. Right now, to take
The expansion's looking pretty good for Warbunnies and Gerald as well.
Right, they are definitely having supply. 91 and 103 against 75, and only 41 for Sergeant ABC at the moment. And we've got carriers.
Yeah, he's got 4 hatcheries on the way at the same time for Sarge.
You know, hatcheries are nice things.
I mean, if you can get away with it, maybe there's going to be a point where these 4 hatcheries pay off. Unfortunately, Warbunnies does scout one of the hatcheries in the top right and is going to laser beam that thing down with prismatic alignment.
Void Ray this time.
Yeah, unfortunately, the 5 Void Rays, they get rid of that hatchery pretty quickly, as they do have +1, and Flux Veins about to finish as well for those Void Rays.
Giving them more mobility, you can't complain with that.
Gerald's going to blink in, try to get this hatchery down while the Void Rays come in to the natural. Unfortunately, getting a little bit caught here on that queen, so one of them will die as the remainder go into the main and try to target down more of the hatcheries building for Sarge.
Zealot reinforcements.
Hydras are going to do okay here. Yeah, Gerald really using this Gateway army to just put pressure as, unfortunately, most of the Hydras are forced to respond to the Void Rays.
And they are fighting on creep, extending past the 3rd area. An excellent storm.
Yeah, the storms are just really difficult for just a pure Hydra composition to deal with, especially if they do not have nanomuscular swell. Getting out of storms is just really difficult for pure Hydra, because often if you're dodging the storms and you're not attacking, that means that you're also taking damage from Zealots usually. That's tough.
War Bunnies and I with our respective StarCraft 1, StarCraft 2 strategy guides.
Well, how else are you supposed to know what unit counters what?
Yeah, what fire bats are actually supposed to be used for. It was an interesting one. Both War Bunnies was heading home from a plumbing job. Sergeant ABC had just picked up his kids, so they were kind of sitting down just as we were preparing for the second match. But both of them actually pretty well warmed up.
Yeah, not too bad. I think the attempt at maybe putting on some pressure with the Lings at the start made sense, but just tough to find a hole, I think, in a double Protoss team that is playing relatively conservative, and that was certainly what was happening. Neither player was expanding too early. I think probably that was a call by Gerald, who kind of sussed out the situation pretty quickly and said, let's stay on the high ground, let's wait, let's bide our time until we can go down the map and secure the low ground.
Yeah, after the initial Ling rushes, they were definitely on the offensive for most of the game. The Nidus Worm, good call, but they weren't really able to reach the benefits or really catch their opponent off guard with it. And the title of the stream has been updated, by the way. So
good.
We are good there. Our pros and Joes were in separate Discord channels. Well, the pro and Joe duos, anyway. So we are going on to Rahana again. Popular choice for a second map.
Yeah, it's fairly standard. Has just the single entrance to the natural. That's a little bit easier, I think, to deal with for most players.
But the man's a little bit more separated as well. Also, just very pretty.
That is true.
I like the beach. I like the ones that have a nice beach you can visit.
That's true. So when someone blasts you with Dark Templar, you can at least go and relax on the sand while you think about all the mistakes that you made.
Yes, indeed. This has been an interesting season because it has been a long time since there was a Team Liquid map contest that focused on team maps, and they went all out with them. ESL not always having as much motivation to get the team stuff updated, but they definitely went the extra mile this time. FSL indeed. For those tuning in, FSL is our casual StarCraft League. We are going to announce our participants. In the upper left, we have the yellow Zerg. He is
Sergeant ABC.
His partner, the Zerg in the purple. He is
Cham.
Their opponents, the blue Protoss. He is
Gerald.
And his teammate, the Protoss in the red. He is
War Bunny.
And away we go. One of the big advantages of having two Zerg instead of one Zerg and one other race is that you don't have to worry about your creep tripping each other up.
It's true. That is true. And I think it's also... I think this map in particular is really not ideal for the Zerg. I'm kind of surprised, honestly, that Cham picked it, because one of the things that you're really going to struggle with, I think, is getting past some kind of push that happens on your natural, because there is just that combined single choke. And something like maybe, Blink Stalkers are really going to have an easy time kind of dancing in and out. Not a means for the Zerg players to get us around, get a wrap around with Speedlings.
Right, that kind of situation does give the Protoss a little bit more to work with than does the Zerg. Well, we are getting the initial Lings, and both the Protoss players get at least one Zealot out, so they can close up the walls.
Yeah, Gerald just trying to be annoying, block the expansion of Cham for as long as possible here. He's going to pylon block it. saying that he either needs to spend ling time on that pylon or concede the hatchery. He instead just takes the right side hatchery
Or put an out
and is going to wait and let his teammate. Yeah.
That's
I like that
actually
decision
one of the
from
big
Cham.
advantages in 2v2. You've got twice the early units, so things like that are a little bit quicker to clean up anyway.
Yeah, that is true.
One goes down.
Gerald's just gonna try to chase some of these slowlings. Before speed is done, they're really not too threatening here. He does target a few of these down for free, but the speed of Cham is about to finish, so we do need to be a little bit cautious.
One thing to look out for here. War Bunny's, his Stargate's almost done. Gerald's is, I'd say, a good 3/4 of the way, so we are definitely going to be seeing some aerial here.
Yeah, War Bunny's is unfortunately going to lose a pylon. And yeah, now that the Oracle is on the way, War Bunny's unfortunately does get his units trapped a little bit here. The battery's going to do what it can, but eventually it is going to run out of juice. Cham does turn around with the Lings now that the Adepts of Gerald do come in to try to support.
Yeah, one big thing to note is that batteries that are a little bit further from the Nexus don't start with as much energy as if they're within basically a short amount of range of the Nexus, although they've expanded that a little bit, and there is no more battery overcharge. That ability is a thing of the past. Definitely no secret that there's an Oracle going across the map. It went over quite a few Zerglings as well as Overlords, so we'll see how I think Cham is going to be able to deal with it.
Now the expansion coming up for War Bunnies as he tries to do a little bit of Oracle harass, but not able to get anything done, unfortunately. And mispositions
right
the Oracle in the dead space. Should have tucked it all the way to the top left, but unfortunately does die to the Queens there.
He went over quite a few spots there. He was trying to find a good space where he could attack without having to worry about taking damage back, but damage just kind of kept rising up. Meanwhile,
the Lings are going to come in here.
Yep, and I just saw that Oracle get overcharged, so it got a bit more energy. Forge is on the way from both the Protoss players as Cham upgrades to Lair.
Yeah, the Gerald just being a little bit annoying with a Void Ray across the map as well, getting some Overlords where you can, just kind of controlling the vision,
It's
controlling
mostly
space.
An Overlord Hunter, but also gives them a look at what they're up against.
Blink and +1 coming in for Gerald. Another Stargate, and I assume a Fleet Beacon here relatively soon as well for War Bunnies.
As we said, Sergeant was able to impress quite a bit. He is in our Code D league, which is the lower level players, but people have a way of working their way up from there to Code A and eventually Code S.
This Void Ray also going to get this hatchery from Cham the third, which is really quite nice. The Oracle even going to join in.
Joining in. I think we're going to get a cancel any second now.
Yeah, the cancel does go down. Queen's going to come and just help secure that third base, but that's really a very significant delay on the Zerg. 2-hatch Zerg just feels so anemic that that's quite a nice win there.
Match.
Yeah, the Oracle's still getting a few workers as well before it's forced away, so not bad. Quite
Absolutely.
well done.
And Gerald already almost having his third up. And yes, we do have an Overlord over there. I don't believe there's Nidus available yet, though.
Yeah, there's the +1 attack and +1 ground attack. So air weapons and ground weapons coming in for War Bunnies at the same time. Not too often that you see that. The Fleet Beacon is finishing here as well.
Right, and meanwhile, Blink just about to finish for Gerald. Cham is getting his Hydra upgrades. They are almost... Hydra upgrade and the range attack upgrade. They both look very similar as far as the icons go.
Yeah, +1 ranged Hydras are definitely going to have a little bit of an ability to threaten the Void Rays, the Oracles, just be a little bit more capable of warding them away. Hydra speed on the way as well.
Yep.
Banelings as well for Cham.
And again, both Cham and Sergeant ABC working on getting their thirds up, but again, here comes the attack.
Yeah, and the Lings unfortunately just running right by this, not able to react
They were
quite as accurately.
They were right-clicked over at our Sergeant ABC's base, but now actually they're going on the offensive or trying for a wraparound, maybe.
Yeah, a few of these Lings and the Hydras can actually do pretty well against these Blink Stalkers, but he now sees with the Void Rays that the surround was intended by Sergeant ABC, so he is going to fully back here with those Blink Stalkers. So a nice move there, I think, even if it doesn't get the kill on these Stalkers, just because it prevents that hatchery from continuing to be pressured.
Sergeant ABC just kind of keeps running back to that Zelnaga watchtower, and then heads out to join his teammate. 2 carriers almost complete, but keep in mind, once they're out, they also have to get their interceptors going. And look at that.
Ooh,
Stasis trap.
2 stasis back-to-back catches every single Hydra that was there. The nice thing, though, about that is that this army probably does have a little bit of an ability to take the fight once that stasis does wear off. And you can see Cham kind of positioning in anticipation of that now.
It's the countdown, getting ready to join their friends. Their friends are moving. Colossus is...
And the Hydra's going to try to get forward on that Colossus, but it is saved.
It does manage to get out via Warp Prison. Void Rays, again, not very good against Hydra risks, but there's a carrier in the back.
No, they are not.
There's nowhere for that carrier to go.
Yeah, unfortunately not. The Colossus has stayed along a really long time, though, and that Colossus just gave so much defensive staying power to Gerald, who is really microing it very effectively with the Prism. And now that a second one is out, I do think that we might be kind of reaching the point where we've got to turn around here as Cham if we want to preserve any of these units.
Very good job grabbing that Warp Prism, getting them out of harm's way.
Yeah, more and more carriers hitting the field here, too. So Warbunny's kind of starting to hit a little bit of a critical mass in his army that looked relatively flimsy to start just because, 1, 2 carriers that are sort of trickling in against Hydras are generally speaking going to struggle.
Or
so
even a handful
need
of
to definitely...
Hydras.
Yeah, the Void Rays especially just absolutely are going to get blasted by the Void Rays, or sorry, by the Hydras, rather.
The Hydras.
So,
and, yes, with those little back of their neck spines that everyone thinks are actually them, but we know better.
So true, and it definitely wasn't retconned, everybody, from Brood War to StarCraft 2. And this Blink Stalker Colossus army doing pretty well here to ward away Sergeant, but the surround is going to come in here from Cham, who's trying to really just sandwich this army. Yeah, Sarge using a lot of his Hydras here to try to get on top of these Colossus, which is really quite nice. The carriers do come in and may look like they are actually able to get a decent trade here against the Hydras, or against the carriers, rather, which are not being microed very effectively.
They were right where the Hydras can move up to them.
Unfortunately, I think just against pure Ling Hydra, this army is just going to be too efficient. And now that there's a little bit of counter damage here with the Prism from Gerald, it's looking a little tough for the Zerg team here, who is just struggling to kind of get either A, as much damage as they need to, or get the economy moving as much as it needs to in order to parlay this into a victory.
Still 3 bases each as far as the Zergs go, where Gerald and Warbunny is, they just have a lot more expansions going right now, as well as being about 30 supply ahead each. Well, the carrier is a little bit more of a fortified position, but one of them still goes down. That's a big investment each time he loses one of those. Blink Stalkers get on top of the Hydras with Colossus close behind.
Yeah, I think the size of the army now is just at a point where these sort of Ling Hydra compositions are going to struggle, especially when you consider that Gerald has +3 finishing here. Cham is finishing +2 missile attacks. Sergeant trying to get 2-2. The upgrades are good, the size of the army is good, and the tech is just much better for the Protoss team. And I think that's ultimately what is going to spell defeat here for the Zergs. Oh, it's just so tough to engage this army effectively with these limited numbers of Lings and Hydras.
That's very hard to get close to the carriers right now. We have the GG right there. Cham under 40 supply. And the team of Gerald and War Bunnies has taken match B. We'll be going to interview with them right now.
We're gonna come in second because they're MaxPax. Hey.
Yeah, welcome back. All right. Definitely things got tense in that second match.
Yeah. Well, I saw like both you and Cham. Where is Cham, by the way? I'll message him.
It's okay. Losers interview is optional, right? So let's
Oh,
get
yeah,
the,
sorry,
get the next games going.
Yeah. Double Zerg, especially with one as good as Cham, really kept just every time he got workers for me. But I was glad to sponge a little bit to allow Gerald to expand and get what he needed to get going. And as long as I didn't die, I think we had a pretty good chance. And
You did not die.
Gerald's counterattacks put us on even and then better than even footings, and we were able to go across the map and win. So yeah, Sarge, you played really well both games. You had a flood of Lings that second game that I was trying to keep an eye on, and I couldn't. And then on the first game, I noticed you came in and killed a bunch of my workers. I thought it was Cham every time, but at least twice it was you.
All right. Well, guess what? It is going to be a very Protoss-heavy winners match. Let's see if we got everyone ready here.
Just a little bit.
All right, well, we'll see you guys later, Sergeant ABC and Cham, for the next match.
All right. So we are getting into our winners match. And
So
this is going to be, what I was just saying, very Protoss-heavy.
I was gonna say, so Instability, how excited are you to face Gerald and War Bunnies?
I don't always like playing against mass carriers, so I just hope it doesn't get to that point.
Yep. I'm always hearing that piece of advice, the old, oh, how did they get to that point?
Well, yeah.
Easier said than done.
I was gonna say instability normally doesn't let me get too far down the line, so yeah, that's a tough team over there. Instability, and MaxPax is one of, if not the best Protoss in the world. So it's a tall task, but we're gonna overcome the high mountain and win this tournament right here. What do you think?
As much as I love MaxPax, I'm not going to deny Gerald's ability to use Warp Prisms and Colossus. Like the old puck of its time. I swear. The amount of times he saved the Colossus from Cham alone was insane. And the amount of times that you came in and saved him.
Well, we played well together. Yeah, he's a very good player. These are some of the best pros in the world, after all. So,
yeah.
And as far as this goes, yes, as you mentioned, Instability and War Bunnies, they've been on opposite sides of many team matches, and they know each other pretty well.
Yeah, I definitely know what she's gonna do, and she knows what I'm gonna do. So she's better though. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, MaxPax, have you been talking Instability and figuring out a game plan for Gerald and War Bunnies?
No, we'll just come up with something.
Fair enough.
And Instability, are you in game? I'm trying to find you to add you to party.
Yeah, I left the FSL chat. Let me rejoin it.
Don't leave us.
Sounds good.
We're
and
cool.
with that being said, we'll put you guys.
Yeah, where to get?
I'll put you guys back inside your respective chats.
Well, actually, first of all, what has Team MaxPax chosen for the first map?
Oh yes, MaxPax. Have you decided?
Let's let's play Undercurrent first.
Sounds
All
good.
right, ask and you shall receive. Now we can move them to their separate chats, and we are going to get the day's winner.
Cool.
in a
I'll
short
move Team
while.
MaxPax. You move Team Gerald.
Absolutely.
Okay, make sure everybody's in, and we're good to go.
You need to join the party. I mean, you need to join the lobby.
Never.
Okay, there we go.
All right, there we go. So I've never actually seen Undercurrent. Is this a new map? Looks new to me.
Undercurrent is indeed a new map. They brought back a few after accidentally only posting the new ones, but you know, they actually managed to take action faster than we're used to.
Yeah,
And once again,
it's not every day that the team map pool gets updated, so
no, it isn't. And not every day that it's then fixed after the update.
that's also true.
But we've got a... yeah, one of the big ones War Bunnies and I can't stop talking about was last season, where there was a... they fixed up a couple things in the map pool, but one of the things that they left unfixed was they had a Heart of the Swarm map. Not one that had been updated in any way whatsoever. That was just sitting there in the 2v2 map pool. I think Greystone Ravine was what it was called.
What could go wrong?
Oh, I don't know, Liberators, or just running out of money almost immediately because there's only a couple expansions you can reach. Anyway, this is one of those lovely underwater maps where, for some reason, when units die, they become less dense and float to the surface.
Maybe it's just that when they get broken open, all of their density escapes. What is the science explanation for this? No, I think the thought process is just, oh, this looks cool. Let's do that.
Indeed. The actual thing is gravity adjustment. It's one of the settings that can be changed in the editor, and it's become kind of customary for these underwater maps to have that be a factor, as opposed... For some reason, I don't think they really do that with ones that take place in outer space where there's not supposed to be any gravity at all. I think that was the original intention anyway. But there's really some beautiful effects on here, especially the currents that is showing off in the preview. And just talking beyond the map, yeah, we got War Bunnies and Gerald versus Instability, and MaxPax. So Protoss and Protoss versus Protoss and Protoss. So what do you think of that matchup as far as team matches go?
This is a classic of the 2v2 ladder, by the way.
Reminds
the
me
all
of the money
Protoss
maps,
2v2.
You know? Those old Brood War maps where they'd stack all the minerals on one spot, have people go at it. You basically had an entire map filled with cannons, and these carriers just kind of creeping out in their place, creeping out again. I think this is going to be a little bit more intricate than that, though.
I would hope so.
Well, we have some players here who rarely disappoint. And in the upper right, we have the green Protoss.
Instability.
Her teammate, the Protoss in the purple, he is
MaxPax.
Their opponents, the Protoss in the red, he is
War Bunnies.
And his teammate, the Protoss in the blue,
Gerald.
This is one of those maps where one of the players gets to take a pocket in the back that's a little bit safer, and then gradually moving outward. The natural area being accessible from a few different directions, actually.
Yeah, certainly a lot more wide open than Rohana. That is for sure. And I think the opportunity for maybe some Blink Stalker shenanigans is pretty high here.
You know, where MaxPax goes, Blink Stalkers follow.
It's about as consistent a theme as you could find.
Yes, indeed. Probes zapping each other. And it is MaxPax who is taking the pocket base, where on the other side, War Bunnies is taking his. Though Gerald hasn't quite started his Nexus yet. Looks like he's ready to.
It's about to go down here, it looks like. Maybe just opting for...
I think Gerald took an extra Vespin, guys, for an extra simulator.
Yeah, it does look like he's... Yeah, that does look to be the case here.
Coming right up.
MaxPax's dream is to one gate expand on a map where he's got a pocket Nexus. I mean, this is... It just doesn't get better for the best one gate expand player in the world, right? Like, the fact that you could defend from the high ground and have the Nexus behind that is... Man. He's probably going to write this down in the notes for the next season's map pool, because it's good if you can get it.
Is he on the Balance Council? We don't know. There's a lot of things we don't know about him, other than the fact that he is very strong. And on Instability and MaxPax, both of them have Stargates on the way. War Bunnies and Gerald, both of them have Stargates on the way. Gerald's is just about to be the first one finishing. And 2 Stargates, actually, from Instability.
That signals to me maybe some Mass Phoenix here.
Well, I think Oracle openings are pretty good here, but yes, indeed, there is a Phoenix on the way from MaxPax.
My guess here is that Max might be saying, let's just make as many Phoenix as we possibly can and try to roll them over with just, more lifts than they can realistically handle.
If you get enough Phoenixes, that is a great way to keep your opponent's army and economy in check. And here we go. Gerald's Oracle chasing after those dubs.
Yeah, War Bunny's trying to deal with it. That does get assisted by Gerald's Oracle, which is really nice. The energy overcharge just makes it possible for it to blast down those adepts with
goes down too.
Minimal losses.
And the MaxPax Phoenixes are roaming around right now, causing mischief wherever they go. Going to battle against the Stalkers. More Phoenixes and more Stalkers both coming in. Instability also joining the Phoenixes of her own.
Yeah, getting those gases pretty quickly on the natural just to ensure that you can continue the Phoenix production. Obviously, the Phoenix are relatively expensive, so you just need to be able to mostly keep the gas income up. The recall 2 feet away by Gerald, not perfect. It does break them out of the lifts, though. So at least you get that. Ooh, a big stasis there by Gerald as well. Does catch the vast majority of the probes here from Instability. Recall
yes.
on War Bunny's Oracle, but this Oracle is not long for this world.
No, and Phoenixes, once they're in good enough numbers, they are very hard to deal with. And you can't really go Phoenix against them unless you got more Phoenixes. So you got to figure out what other route to take.
And it does look like the Phoenix count is up to about, I think, between the 2 players, maybe about 12 total, which is pretty significant and is going to allow you to kind of take fights against Stalker Balls where you can lift one at a time, kind of get enough DPS on it, and close out those kills, even next to batteries.
One Phoenix did go down there.
War Bunny's making a Dark Shrine, but that is scouted.
Yep, and Gerald just about to complete Blink.
And the expansion from Gerald is about 2/3 of the way done. looking like a slight economic advantage on paper, but obviously the Phoenix are going to be looking primarily to try to mitigate that advantage and get worker kills.
The Phoenix
which is happening now as.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly right. MaxPax sweeps through the main base and the natural, gets a bunch of probe kills, is now going to try to escape here. Blink is really can only do so much on a map this large and on team maps in particular to try to dance around. The Phoenix are just so fast, and their ability to just fly in, get a few probes, and then fly out before the Blink Stalkers are able to arrive to fully address them is it just makes this matchup very difficult.
Anywhere they're at, there's another place that they can't defend. And the expansions really get further and further out, like in a map like this.
Yeah, that's true. And when both players are playing Phoenix, it's just so difficult to try to match both of those because obviously you want to be attacking in multiple places at once. You don't want to have all the Phoenix, just together in a single ball. So smart recall actually here from Max. I do like that decision just to ensure that you don't get tracked down by a giant ball of stalkers. You didn't have that much energy on the Phoenix either, so just playing it safe there. I do like that choice.
War Bunnies does have some Dark Templar out, but they're hanging out base at the moment.
Probably didn't feel too confident sending them across the map just because he knows, obviously, that that it did get scouted. So don't want to throw away more resources than you need to. Just maybe hope that you find an opening for those Dark Templar later.
War Bunny's hurting a little bit. He is in the 80s, not too far behind, but everyone else in the match is in the 90s right now, as far as supply goes. Instability.
Yeah, looking pretty even.
Yep, air attack upgrade there. And keep in mind.
Yeah, and the era of the Phoenix is going to struggle here against an army that is sufficiently large, but this is a good start getting that many lifts and that many kills.
Archons cannot be lifted, and they do a little bit of splash damage, but you need to have them in range. And that's a little bit trickier.
Yeah, that is true. These Immortals kind of getting chased down as well, and are going to die actually to this Blink Stalker ball here. So that's a really nice pickoff here. Phoenix come in to try to lift some Stalkers just to save them, but Max is unfortunately not successful. And a Kobe from downtown, that last Stalker shot does finish off a Phoenix. So a nice little pickoff there. Gonna try to maybe break this natural with this large Blink Stalker Archon ball, but there's just still so many Phoenix that I'm worried that eventually they are going to be able to overwhelm. And even though these Archons can't be lifted, if you're killing the majority of the Stalkers and the few remaining, Robo and Gateway units might have the ability to push, but actually it looks like War Bunnies and Gerald feel confident enough that this is actually a fight that they can win. They blink forward and get the Void Ray, and that is enough. War Bunnies and Gerald
like
win.
That, after all that, look at War Bunnies. He is relieved. And that's the thing.
War Bunny is thrilled to win that one.
Yeah, there comes a point where the Phoenixes can't do as much. They need some ground armor to support them. In the end, they weren't quite ready for that.
Good to see War Bunnies get excited over that one. Not many people can say that they have played a game against MaxPax in any format and beaten him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as I said, we're going to be getting into a little bit more of that fashion as we get into some of the pros versus Joes rather than pros and Joes. So we will be doing more stuff where it's going to be two, average Joe players against one professional player in handicap matches. A little bit before this, War Bunnies and Green Empire actually managed to get a win against DNS. I believe it was 3-1 in the end.
Not bad. That's not bad.
Yep.
Pretty tough to win a game like that.
Yeah, it's a thrill. And we are looking at some different ways that people can sign up, different options as far as how we can go about paying. I can say I have a win versus MaxPax. Yes, you can, and no one can ever take that away from you, War Bunnies.
That's true, and it's not even a lie. It was against MaxPax.
No,
That is
MaxPax GG'd them.
That's right. That is
we
right.
have it on video. It is irrefutable. So the next
we're
one
gonna put
will
that
be
in
Reclamation, and this is one of the older ones. And again, one where it's maybe a little bit easier to separate your opponents early on. Not quite up there with some of them, but there's a little bit more vulnerability and a little bit more need to wall off at the beginning. Right now, people were separating and doing a little bit of strategy talk on the other side. Just such an odd color. It's sort of an autumn vapor. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, it is very strange. So many tentacles, or I think those are maybe overlord tendrils that are in the top right bottom left of this map.
I definitely think they're trying for a Terrazine fog kind of thing on the borders.
Yeah, something like that for sure. But I think that's what those doodads are. Is that it is those doodads are from the campaign, the overlord tendrils. But yeah, just kind of a you don't really see this tile set used this way on most maps.
Yeah, I know there were a lot of complaints at some eras that just too many of the maps were sort of the dark and brooding tile sets, for lighting anyway.
You are watching FSL.
And yeah, Nova Covert Ops, that was what brought us those lovely beach areas.
That's right, yes. And those actually were used, in my opinion, pretty effectively. They also gave the Royal Dominion
hold that
tile
thought
set.
now, because in the upper left we have the green Protoss. She is.
Instability.
Her teammate, the Protoss in the purple. He is.
MaxPax.
Their opponents, up one map, the Protoss in the blue. He is.
Gerald.
And his teammate is the red Protoss. He is called
War Bunny.
Here we go with those lovely FSL intros. I do love... You talk about things borrowed from the campaign. You gotta love Artanis just sort of walking away from that explosion without looking back and waiting until the last little fraction of a second to warp away.
Well, if you don't make it close, then how are you gonna look badass?
Exactly.
There's no sense in being safe when you could instead be cool.
Well, there's nothing cooler in an action or sci-fi setting than having an explosion that you don't look back at. Iron Man
So
knew
true.
it, so many other heroes knew it.
So true.
So right now, going pretty much standard. Gerald, again, kind of being the one who differs just a little bit more than the others.
Yeah, I think that last game, you wonder if maybe that's going to be the strategy for every game from Instability and MaxPax, or maybe that was just an attempt, sort of a one-off to see what they could get away with.
Well, we know that
hard to
MaxPax
say.
definitely knows a lot of strategy. That is absolutely for certain. And as Instability
That
said,
is true.
War Buddies would love to get a carrier fleet going, a good old Golden Armada. In the chat,
That's
we've
right.
got Instability and War Buddies debating about whether that last map made MaxPax a little bit angry. And whether an angry MaxPax is something that you really want to see on the opposite side of a match.
I don't think if it's up to you, I wouldn't want to see it ever. Whether it's in my game or otherwise.
Let me give you a piece of advice. It's not wise to upset a MaxPax. The droid, don't rip your arm out of your socket when you lose.
Right. Thus far, nothing too out of the ordinary here. A Stargate for Max, but that's not necessarily a tell that we're going to see more Phoenix shenanigans. It looks like Instability is going for Twilight. My assumption is Blink there.
Yep, once again, an Oracle to start with on both the side of Gerald and the side of MaxPax. It's only become more popular of an opening since Energy Overcharge was introduced.
That's right. Looks like this Adept for Max does get in. Maybe gets one or two probes here, so really not too bad, actually. Is eventually cleaned up. Lost mining time as well.
Yeah, that is worth a lot when you're right at the beginning of the game. Here we go, with the Stalkers chasing down yet more adapts from both players.
His Adept's just so difficult to deal with, I think, for anyone, but especially for War Bunnies, I think he's going to have a tough time dealing with that. And now here comes the Oracle.
It ain't over yet, folks.
Stalkers were in position to defend it, but a couple of free hits.
Yep, War Bunnies definitely was ready. And similar business on the other side. I think Gerald's Oracle managed to get a little bit more done. However, it will not be escaping as MaxPax is dead. Blink is getting pretty close to complete for instability. Just getting started for Gerald.
Yeah, it started for Gerald and MaxPax both here right about the exact same time, as both of them have 2 gateways on the way here as well, just as they get up to that third base. Yeah, pretty standard here. Pretty standard PvP build order for both of them, relatively speaking.
I think it managed to catch a total of 3 probes.
Nothing too severe on either side of the game here just yet.
They're both kind of taking turns harassing each other's mineral lines. It's like, okay, you're up.
Very polite of them. Very polite of them.
Gentlemen harassers, right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
War Bunny is again going for a Dark Shrine.
Yeah, it didn't pan out the last time, but in this game at least, there's I would argue a little bit of a bigger window. Now there are cannons that could be produced here for Max, as he is getting a forge. He does, keep in mind, have oracles still in the Stargate in order to produce or to use Revelation rather for detection.
Right now, we have some decent number of Stalkers coming from the MaxPax instability team, and a stasis ward getting dropped right in front of them for them to fall back behind.
That's right, not too bad here, not too bad. And the Blink Stalker battle here is going pretty decently for War Bunnies and Gerald. The stasis trap really poses a big threat here if those Stalkers get a little bit too aggressive as well.
That was an interesting one, because you mentioned Blink Stalkers just before they became Blink Stalkers. But yeah, definitely a bit of a timing attack in that respect. Dark Shrine just completed for War Bunnies. And we have even more stasis wards going down.
Oh, this combined Blink Stalker force is just so difficult to engage, especially when it has, when it does have stasis traps as well. God, it's just so tough, I think, to try to get a good engagement against that army.
Look at that Oracle, just going back, recharging all over again. You know, it's going to be a minute before it has that, before it can be overcharged again. But that is really the all-new way to use Oracles, just being able to replenish their value just like that. And whoa, that's a lot of stasis.
Yeah, the number of stasis traps you can get with energy overcharge these days is just absolutely out of control. Out of control.
No,
and if you're active, it's a really good way to get map vision and just delay pushes from your opponent.
Indeed, this time MaxPax feels the shame of a stasis ward. Now, you probably don't know the answer to this, because I don't think it's come up much, but can you cast Energy Overcharge on your teammates unit?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know if you can. My guess would be no, for no other reason than I would be surprised if the intern remembered to code that.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting one. Chrono Boost you cannot cast on a teammate's thing, except in up, which is a good... But Inject Larva, actually, you can cast it on a teammate's hatchery.
Yeah, I'm curious if that's possible or not. I've never encountered the situation, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, the world is large and full of wonder. And look at Instability just hopping up to join MaxPax's group. believe that MaxPax might be controlling instability of stalkers as well. Sometimes you can see it just based on the way they move together.
Mm-hmm.
If they're all moving in one ball, then they're sharing control.
Yeah, and it looks like they are just eventually going to run over here. Warbunny is doing his best, honestly, to try and hold on, but his probes are all pulled. He's lost them all,
Right.
and
only one mining
it's
base
just
right
not
now.
looking good.
And as you see, they do have the observers with them as well. MaxPax just
Yeah,
completed Templar
the additional expansions on the backside are ultimately not necessary. Instability and MaxPax do take out number
They
2.
are evening things out.
Pretty good back and forth between these two players thus far.
Yeah, I don't. They got some decent harassment in, but I don't think there was ever really any dedicated offense the team of Warbunnies and Gerald managed to get going. It was really that sustained push from MaxPax and Instability that kept driving them further back and eventually taking over. And like you said, just the non-stop stasis wards, although, Gerald got at least one of those in himself.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I'll be interested to see what the strategy is this next map, but I do think just playing an active Blinkstalker Oracle style probably suits them both quite well. It seems like Instability does tend to kind of favor Blinkstalker play, so it's very straightforward to play. It's difficult, obviously. You have to be fast. You have to be on top of the Blink Micro. But in terms of the decision making, it's relatively straightforward most of the time. What it is that you should be doing. So, I think combining that with MaxPax is probably the best choice.
I think the first game, the Phoenixes were paying off for a while, but in the end, they just got too fancy. They didn't have the ground army to support them. Second game was a lot more straightforward. They built up a big Oracle Stalker army, and they hit hard with it. And they just kept hitting them until they broke through them. That simple.
Yeah, and I think the very active use of the oracles for stasis traps just makes that even more likely, right? Your opponent just can't get exactly the engagement that they want. They can't blink on top of you to seize on moments where they maybe have more stalkers, just because that stasis is going to get them. You see pros struggling with this on their level all the time. So for Warbunnies, I'm sure it's very difficult to contend with.
Yeah. I think it's something we might even start seeing even more of from pros going forward, now that Oracles can just keep getting their energy back.
That's right. And why not? Why not? You got to be active with those and just ensure that you get as much value as you possibly can.
Right. And another thing I gotta say is, it's always been something where, you want to harass with that initial Oracle, but you want to try to keep it alive, because whether it's Stasis Wards or whether it's Revelation, there's that much more value that it can get throughout the game. Now that value is a lot more prompt, a lot more consistent.
Right.
And I think that's exactly the kind of match that Gerald and Warbunnies probably don't want to get in. That kind of head-to-head thing, where the stalkers, they can blink in and then just blink right out behind a bunch of stasis wards too. So this is a best of 5. We are currently at 1-1. Third map is coming up, and the players are just talking strategy.
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile that you just maybe go over the game plan a little bit here on both sides, ensure that you can kind of get a grip on what you're going to try to execute.
Well, if it's a strategy game, it doesn't hurt to talk some strategy. So we're keeping an eye on these things. We're also I'm just kind of keeping an eye out for any news about what next year will look like as far as esports go. I've been keeping a close eye on the EWC game announcements. There's 2 different Call of Duty games that have been confirmed for it, and now Overwatch 2 as well. So obviously they're doing some business with Blizzard, but there's something clogging up the works as far as StarCraft 2 goes. But there's a few more they're going to be announcing over the next week. Then I think it's going to be a month, and then there's going to be 4 final games that they'll be announcing for Esports World Cup.
Yeah, well, it's been nerve-wracking waiting this long. I think there probably will be a StarCraft 2 announcement, but obviously with each game that goes by, you do worry.
It's a position we've been in before, unfortunately, with a lot of different organizations. I know there's some theories just based on some very incidental comments here and there that there's a little bit of arguing over creative control and money, since there's a lot being put in right now. Anyway, though, in the upper left, we have the blue Protoss he is.
War Bunnies.
His teammate, the Protoss in the red, he is
Gerald.
And the green Protoss, she is
Instability.
Her teammate, the Protoss in the light blue, he is
MaxPax.
And here we go.
Some probe scouting going to be happening from Gerald. Maybe
Scout, maybe even
just
a
get a
proxy
sense
or
of
something.
what's going on. Yeah, a little early if he was going to proxy something for a 1-base all-in, but maybe just setting up a proxy for later in the game, a pylon for some adepts,
That
something
is
like that
interesting,
can
though.
be quite valuable.
His probe and instability is actually meeting right in the middle of the map. So they had it out at the exact same time.
We'll see what he gets done with this probe, what he can confirm here. Shouldn't be too surprising to see Max trying to do a 1-gate expand here, if that is in fact the play.
I think MaxPax is
And it
pretty
looks like it
confident in
is.
what he does. Oh, we do get a little bit of a block on instability as expansion. She does get it started, though. The Nexus is on the way, as it is for MaxPax. War Bunnies and Gerald have not taken their Nexus yet. They don't have the probes in position for it yet either, so we're going to have to see what they have in mind, whether they're looking at doing something a little bit more aggressive. And there we are. Gerald has indeed put down a proxy pylon.
Well, so maybe a little bit of shenanigans here. Something aggressive just to catch your opponent off guard. Maybe take advantage of the fact that one of your opponents is a little less experienced. Maybe is going to panic when they see something like that coming and try to make it a 2v1 as quickly as possible.
Exactly. And if you're in a 2v1, that can allow the 2 of you to gang up on the remaining person, or you can just let one of you keep your remaining opponent busy while the other one techs up, builds up a good army, and is unstoppable by the time there's anything the opponent can do about it.
Yeah, that's right. That definitely can be the play.
A robo from both Instability and from MaxPax. And this is interesting from War Bunnies and Gerald. Even though they're doing this aggressive opening, they're each setting up a shield battery as well.
Yeah, just trying to protect themselves against oracles. If you're gonna have all your units across the map, just having that battery can prevent you from losing all of the probes for nothing. So, in a perfect world, obviously, you're skipping that just to try to get this this aggressive opening
and
online as fast as possible.
All right, Gerald is already on the move with 2 stalkers. More to come.
It does get 1 stalker early, loses one of his own as well.
And we're seeing something very similar to what we saw with Revenant Rage and Spirit, where War Bunny's proxy is quite a bit later.
Yeah, that is true. Obviously hard to keep up with the speed of a pro in terms of executing just about any strategy, even something relatively simple like this. They're just really on top of moving everything as quickly and efficiently as possible. But Here the attack comes now. There is an immortal and a battery
And a
on
sentry, too.
location for Max. Yeah.
Force field goes down there.
So
sentries can be
recharged. He does trigger the barrier relatively early here, actually, which is quite nice for the attacking players. But I do think that this position is just not very good for Gerald. Oh, and he gets force fielded horribly by MaxPax here, and is going to lose a lot of those stalkers for relatively cheap.
Right, this is not a blink thing here.
Oh, and I think it actually looks like maybe War Bunnies and Gerald are actually already routed in this game number 3.
Right. War Bunnies bringing a couple of adepts, but not a lot of things they do bonus damage against, unless they want to focus fire the sentries.
Yeah, I think if you're going to be warping in adepts at this point, you're going to be doing it to try to fork them off shade into the main and get probe damage, because otherwise in a straight up fight they're just not going to be too valuable most of the time.
And everyone's grouping up here. Instability, actually not there with MaxPax. Getting a lot of these little, solitary or double force fields. Just to throw off the enemy movement. They try to cut, and yeah, GG. Gerald decides this isn't happening. I don't need to take this any further. We can move on.
Yeah, probably the correct play. Both players, Instability and MaxPax, were getting prisms that they were going to send across the map as well, just to stretch them thin. So a little bit tough to deal with that many Immortals batteries when you've just got Stalkers.
Okay, so we are currently 2 maps to 1 in favor of MaxPax and Instability. So one of the things that everyone who was involved with this was talking about afterwards, just how slow they felt, just like you were bringing up. It's like it's one thing to watch the pros play, it's another thing to be playing right next to them and just constantly noticing how far ahead all that practice, all that experience takes you, even in the very, very early game.
Yeah, it's really humbling.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only word for it. So that's what we both came up with there. Emerald City is next, by the way. And while we were doing this, Indy was actually live streaming this. And Spirit and Gerald, actually anytime they weren't busy, they were just kind of hopping over to his channel. The Polish StarCraft scene.
Yeah, Indy's always trying to jump into community stuff and get content. So cool to see that he jumped in on this as well.
That's right. Throughout this entire battle, he was lurking there, biding his time and waiting. So here we go. We are going into the 4th map. And this is match point as far as MaxPax and Instability are concerned.
You are watching.
I'm gonna look to try to put it away here.
Well, that's what you do. You play to win. In the lower right, we have the red Protoss. He is
War Bunnies.
His teammate, the Protoss. In the blue, Gerald. He is. Then we have the light blue Protoss.
MaxPax.
And his teammate, the green Protoss, and she is
Instability.
Alright, well, 4 Protosses in 1 match. Anything can happen, and I'm sure anything will.
I don't think that that Gerald and War Bunnies will probably try to get too aggressive after that last game. Really did not go their way, obviously. But maybe that's the mind games. Maybe they're saying, hey, the last thing they're gonna expect is for us to do the exact same thing again. So let's just give it a shot.
Oh yeah, that's the reason I do things that aren't gonna work, just because I know that my opponent won't expect them.
You know, it's true what Artosis says sometimes. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is the dumbest thing you can think of.
Absolutely. As I will quote from The Guild, the old web series, esports stupidity is my speciality.
That's a specialty shared by many of my ladder opponents, too, as it turns out.
I will say I have had a couple times where I was against a more experienced player, and he got thrown off because I did something like send an oracle his way after the oracle time had already passed.
You know, Goblin has a name for when you lose oracles early on and make another one. He calls it the negative IQ oracle.
I like
because
it.
it doesn't make any sense that you would make another one, and yet because it does not make sense, it ends up actually being good.
It's the old Joker strategy, you know? Look at me. Do I look like the kind of person who has a plan? But yeah, we are getting a lot of pylon blocks going between both sides. Both MaxPax and Gerald had their expansions prevented, whereas their teammates have managed to get the Nexus up.
Yeah, the pylon just not only does it block the expansion for a little bit, but also gives you a little bit of info on what it is that your opponents are making. So
you get to
can
see
be
what
worth
they're
it to
cleaning
spend
the
the 100
pylon up
minerals that way. That's right.
As we see, you're waiting on that, you might as well keep building up workers on your main base. You don't have to wait, you just have to move them once that is there. So, Oracle on the way from both Gerald and MaxPax once again.
That's right.
And Blink being researched a lot earlier this time.
Yeah, I do think just the blink is just going to give you so much utility in these games, and especially against only Protoss opponents. So I'm not surprised to see blink is the play for the two Joes in this match, letting their opponents kind of dance with the more difficult to micro, more the flimsier units.
And you look at last match. The entire time, while Gerald's stalkers were all cornered, all I could think was, blink out of there, oh, that's right, it's not researched yet, this is the beginning of the game still.
That's right.
Okay.
Gerald's Oracle does come in and is getting a lot of Max's probes here, actually. Really, really good damage, actually.
As MaxPax opted for a Stasis Ward, which got a few probes, but I would say that Gerald is getting the better out of this harassment exchange.
Yeah, absolutely. He is very, very well done. So that's going to be 150 minerals and gas well spent on that Oracle. Getting 10 kills to start. But here comes the double Oracle of Max back in. And the battery is not useful against the two Oracles. So going to be forced away here. There is a Phoenix to chase, though. So we do have to recall those. Going to lose one, but we'll be able to save the other. Oh, and in fact, saves both. Wow, well done.
All right, now that is some top-rate harassment there. I think that Stasis Ward got eliminated. Or was that a Stasis Ward?
I think it was triggered on one probe, if I remember correctly.
All right, building up. A lot of +1s being researched. A lot of blinks being researched. War Bunny's blink just completed. And yeah, we are, aside from the Oracle play, going for a much more long game plan.
Yeah, just going to be entering the put stasises everywhere that there is surface area phase of the game here.
Very much so. The oh, and here we go once again.
That stasis does go down. It should only trigger on a few probes there, just two.
Instability, very quick on her feet there.
Ooh, almost gets baited into the... Ooh, does in fact get baited a little bit into the next stasis.
That was pretty effective. Although the Oracle, as you say, probably not escaping with its life.
No, it does not appear that it will, actually.
And there are so many units in this game out of sync with the space-time continuum. War Bunnies brings units in to join the Stalkers as they came out of stasis. Excellent rescue mission there. And Gerald just about to complete Blink as well as completing the Dark Templar trip.
Ooh, that Nexus instantly has to get canceled there, unfortunately, but good to still get the cancel. Gerald plants his own on the other side of the map on that low ground position.
Right now, Instability, the only person without the third started right now, has to start getting that one going again. And MaxPax is moving out towards where Gerald and War Bunny's armies are. We're about to have a clash here. Here we go. Look at how MaxPax immediately spread out the Stalkers there with a nice concave.
Yeah, very well done. Ooh, the blink in by Instability on top of this army, recognizing that it was smaller, and now that Max is here to support as well, they actually take a very favorable engagement. Very well done by Instability to recognize the situation and blink in there.
Right. I think MaxPax was directing quite a bit there. And you see them moving out. Now, at this point, you look at them. MaxPax, I think, is definitely controlling both at this point, the way they're in sync.
It does kind of give that appearance, although it does look like the Stalkers of Instability a little less, microed a little less efficiently. Maybe both of them kind of trying to jump in here. The stasis traps back home continue to be laid down to protect against counters, but now there is finally a sort of critical mass here of the War Bunnies, Gerald, Blink Stalkers, and it does look like that was a simultaneous blink, so Gerald probably trying to use those armies.
Yeah, I think at this point they're both a little exhausted, and they're both willing to. I think both the Joes willing to step back and let the pros take the steering wheel. Let's say. Now, right now, look at this: War Bunnies and Gerald actually in the lead as far as supply goes.
Yeah, it does look like it's not so bad so far. They do have those stasis traps on top of the ramp, so you do have to be a little bit cautious about how you're engaging, because obviously, if your opponent can capture 20 supply of your army instantly in a stasis trap, they can turn a losing fight into a winning one pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, discretion, the greater part of valor, ladies and gentlemen.
Who blinks one Stalker forward to get it stuck in that stasis trap. Very well done. These Zealots on the south side do get stuck in a stasis, and honestly, they very well may walk into the next one as well here as soon as they're unfrozen.
Yeah, it's going to be all about having the armies in the right place when things get unfrozen, but I think most of those Zealots will be going down. MaxPax expanding further to the south right now. However, the surviving Zealots will see that.
Yeah, nice to at least get that information there. And this game is really starting to kind of open up here for both sides as they're kind of hitting their stride on the tech, on macro.
Look at those Dark Templar wandering off.
That's right.
Into the shadows.
Yeah, the Dark Templar making several appearances so far this series.
Yeah, it seems like a more effective number than the previous ones, though. And they are breaking off from the army and looking to move on the enemy base right now.
That's right.
Well, the Stalkers and Zealots are keeping the army otherwise occupied.
Yeah, and charge lots surprisingly can be effective when mixed in here, just because, A, they don't take that much damage from Stalkers, and if they are allowed to get on top of the Stalker ball and just continually wail away, the amount of damage they do is quite high. They have much higher DPS than a single Stalker, so just keeping your opponent honest is nice. That's right, and for so cheaply, too, so it's very nice to mix in those charge lots.
Anything that doesn't cost gas. War Bunny is attempting to form an Archon from a couple of surviving Dark Templar. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and it looks like there's a little bit of a sandwich going on here with Instability and MaxPax, but the size of the army for War Bunnies Gerald may mean that they are able to actually still get a relatively favorable exchange. The expansion is canceled as well, so that in and of itself is a win there.
And War Bunnies expanding further north into the mirror position of that. Supply 113 and 124 to 88 and 117. War Bunnies and Gerald showing a pretty clear lead here. I mean, not
and if you look at the
look
at the base count,
but yes, they're in a good position.
Yeah, the base count looking very healthy for them as well, meaning that I think they can sort of they can stay in this game a lot longer too, just with the economic advantage. But that blink right there, this is
makes-
exactly what I was talking about. That's disastrous, and so many of the stalkers, oh, they get stuck in that stasis trap, so the rest of this army has to run away. And I think Instability and Max may just go back here in a minute and take the fight against those stalkers, because blink is still going to be on cooldown for them.
That could even up
as soon as
fine.
they
We saw
escape.
Even before the stasis hit, MaxPax was really taking good advantage of the high ground.
Yeah, and actually, I think he intentionally tries to walk into those stasis traps there just to buy even a little bit more time for them, because he knows that these units are doomed.
So Gerald is going to be losing some workers here.
It does eventually get cleaned up, and as the dust settles, it looks like the supplies for the 3 players, Max, War Bunnies, and Gerald, is relatively even. Instability falling a little bit behind, I think, because it was her stalkers that were doing the majority of the fighting there in that last exchange. So
on top of that, she's
Gerald
had a lot of trouble establishing and holding her third. So
that is
she's
true. A lot of the fighting has kind of taken place around that low ground nexus.
Right, there's kind of a bullseye on that third base of hers, and has been. Now look over in the lower left, MaxPax expanding, little sneaker base in the very corner, while also setting one up at the more standard 4th base location, as War Bunnies and Gerald are trying to take down the rocks right outside of there.
Yeah, Gerald's going to fly in with this Prism filled with Dark Templar as well. That has the opportunity, I think, to cause a lot of chaos in the main base. Just keep his opponents busy with more and more fires to put out. The Prism is on the other side of the map for Max as well, though.
That's another cancellation.
Yeah, they're just doing so well to control the base count this game, which is, I think, what's kept them in it so healthily here.
This hidden base of MaxPax, however, has a pretty good amount mining. Dark Templar being dropped, but there is a pretty good cannon there. Cannon does go down. Units being warped in there. And MaxPax with the ever-present works.
That's right. That Prism does look like it's going to go down, but the DTs will survive to continue to fight there for a while. And now that these armies are clashing over this 4th base of MaxPax again, it's going to be paramount that they are able to defend it successfully.
We got a revelation on them, so I think the cleanup is going to finish up. It's like the Amazon delivery, it just didn't hit.
And eventually that is cleaned up in the main, and these armies are going to sort of skirmish on the low ground right in the middle of this map.
And Gerald has the gold base pretty well saturated. Instability is trying to create a base on their golds.
Max being so annoying with those DTs in the main base of War Bunnies, just absolutely cleaning it out.
Depowering left and right. It's like that classic Dark Templar. Hey, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's causing a lot of problems for him there.
Everybody's losing a lot of structures. Instability, losing yet another base, I'm afraid.
Yeah, just such a tough time hanging on to that. These DTs from Max are just absolutely cleaning house here. It looks like there is finally some observers and DTs to come in and clean them up, and the 6 DTs Dark Templar. Ooh, brutal.
And I gotta say, you know, he hasn't even taken the assimilators, but that corner base for MaxPax, that hidden one, very much helping keep his team in the game. MaxPax is maxed out. Almost. I mean, he's mad McClure.
Yeah, the MaxPax army looking quite healthy here. War Bunnies and Gerald, if they're able to take a good fight, still obviously do have a little bit of an advantage here, but I think the DTs have kind of thrown them off.
It's a tricky area with that
quite a
little
bit.
bridge. That can throw off the path. But MaxPax,
yeah, that is certainly the case.
Instability's army keeping that concave going, and just constantly skirmishes going on at the sides. And I do see some red down at that corner base now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. And God, it's just so difficult, honestly, to deal with these DTs and Zealots. Yeah, not only do you need to be able to just kill those units, and DTs deal so much damage, but you just need the detection as well.
You gotta reveal
and that can
them,
be tough to
and you gotta kill them.
Get your hands on. Yeah.
Unless you get lucky with a Storm or a Disruptor Ball, and I don't think he's got access to either of those right now. Gerald's at a Disruptor, and DT Blink as well. All right, well, they know all about the hidden base, and they're going to clean it up. But while they're doing that, look at all that light blue and green converging on the gold.
Oh, they're gonna take out a couple of bases on either side, almost like sort of a pseudo base trade scenario here, to be honest, with how much back and forth is being done.
But actually, yep, instability is gold under attack. There is just so much damage being done at so many different spots of the map. War Bunny's base under attack yet again right in the main. Right now, both War Bunnies and Gerald supply blocked.
Just absolute chaos in this game, but it does kind of look like Max and Instability are getting the better of the engagement. War Bunny is especially really struggling here to kind of hold on to the limited supply that he does have.
Left. Almost everything is either destroyed or depowered. And he is
yeah,
down
just
to
really
88
making
right
it
now.
tough for him.
All right, chasing the enemy off again. And Gerald retaking bases. This is where the size of the team maps ends up being a lot easier to appreciate when you've got so much property to try to defend.
Yeah, and I think this is really where Max is starting to kind of flex a little bit of the speed and try to take favorable engagements just sort of all over the place, forcing his opponents to respond. Max and Instability coming in here again and taking out more probes and this expansion.
Yeah, just constantly hitting up front while also controlling more stuff on the side. MaxPax and Instability also have like a unit standing guard a lot of the other expansions up northward. And once again, the gold base being rebuilt on both sides. That gold, as they say, high reward, high risk when it comes to gold bases.
Yeah, this gold base is traumatized at this point. It has been through a number of violent cycles here.
It remembers the pain from previous lives. Reincarnation isn't easy, man. And look at both corners under attack at the same time. There's just non-stop damage being done on both sides, no matter what moment you're looking at.
Yeah, Instability caught alone a little bit there. Is going to have to blink back. This expansion shouldn't die, though, as the armies are relatively close by. These DT Zealot hit squads for Max just still being so annoying. Gerald going to respond in kind on the southwest side.
Right? It's just destruction, cancellation, and we have a mothership.
Oh, this is very
Big
good
as it
value
used to
here.
be. Time Warp went down for a little bit there.
I think the mothership is a great choice here, to be honest.
Mothership has a lot of flexibility. All the mothership abilities are cooldown these days, right? Yeah,
They
there is no
are,
energy
yes.
on them, so they can't be feedback. They also can't be energy overcharge. It's just, you know,
that's right.
Like what one carrier kind of mixed in, and there goes the group cloak, temporary. But
oh, now this army is really starting to get a lot of tempo here, unfortunately, and I think it's very possible that War Bunnies and Gerald are about to be just absolutely run over here by this superior army.
Look at MaxPax. 175
gosh.
supply, that's more than both the opponents have combined. That's Instability also has over 100 herself.
Yeah, and it's looking like this is going to be the end. Instability and Max do appear to be poised to win this series and advance to the final.
Mothership did get destroyed, but there is another in production along with a couple of carriers, but I don't think it's even going to matter there.
Yeah, this Blink Stalker Force just too powerful. Could even blink forward here at this point, to be honest with you. And in fact, they are going to. They're going to just absolutely mop the floor with his opponents.
We're absolutely honest. So after this one, we do still have the losers match to determine third place. We end up not going ahead with the decider match because, like you said, time zones.
Ooh, pretty good disruptor hit, but you're going to need probably 10 to 12 of those to make this relatively close, and unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get that amount of time.
Standing still for a moment, no reason, but
yeah, not going to be in the cards, I think, here, unfortunately.
Both in the 30s right now with supply. Only got one target with that. Yeah, the carriers are continuing to be added here, and we have the GG. the winner of this whole Pro Genjo event, MaxPax Instability. We would go into the interviews we did.
They had the gold and wow, MaxPax got rich.
We have our winners here. The team that our friend Vales has coined Max Ability. Those were some crazy matches, but none crazier than the final one. Let's see. Stasis wards, DTs on every single corner of the map, and then finally finishing off with the new and improved mothership.
Yeah, that was pretty insane to actually see it in action, not gonna lie. No, I was just surprised at how MaxPax just started building DTs and War Bunnies was like, "You're not the only one, buddy."
Yeah.
I have Dark Templar as well.
He's a little bit better than me. Just a little. I can't believe how much attention he could pay to absolutely everything on the entire map. I look at one thing and he's looking at 10 different places, and he's microing his DTs against me and stalkers against Gerald. It's insane.
Well, you know, nice
you
job,
know, a little
pros.
taste of what it's like to go mix it up with the pros. Instability, how you feeling here?
Well, really, really bad at the game. That's how I feel.
Oh, no, you did really good. Like, honestly,
and
I think
you called dibs on MaxPax too, as I recall.
Well, actually, I didn't think I was going to get to play with MaxPax, so I wasn't even planning on playing in the first place, so...
And yet you won.
As always.
All right, well, let's hear from the
MaxPax,
pros,
Gerald,
guys.
thank you very much for joining us on these. That was taking Protoss gaming to places I don't think I've seen it before.
Yeah, actually, I
one-
want to ask Gerald, have you ever been in a 2v2 with just Protoss playing?
Yes, it was a long time ago, and I was playing with MaxPax.
Wow, deja vu all over again.
Well, I guess that answers the next question for MaxPax. But I was
He
gonna
has
say,
definitely-
sorry.
Yep, go right ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say because he played a lot with Beastie Cutie, and Beastie Cutie always picks random. Is that where you get most of your experience in 2v2s, MaxPax?
Well, I did get a lot of experience back then, but and it did help me a lot. But I wouldn't say it's what I get most of my experience in 2v2. I still think 2v2 is very similar to 1v1, and it's mostly just about mechanics, and the strategy is not so important.
I noticed that both sides, the pro was definitely sharing some control.
Only the last game, the first 3 games we didn't do it, and they bopped us. So we won one, but they bopped us the rest of them. So I'm like, I can't pay attention and macro, so you're gonna have to micro for me.
Yep, it's Archon mode, as it was meant to be. Instability. Another thing, you were saying that a big thing you were hoping for was that War Bunnies would never get to carriers. And I don't think there was a single carrier from any player in any of those 4 matches. Was that a relief?
MaxPax built carriers.
Oh, you did?
so-
Toward the end,
Yeah.
along with that mothership, I guess. It was invisible, so...
Well, I was also gonna say, War Bunnies and Gerald, you guys kept saying you guys were thinking of tactics. Do you guys want to walk us through one of the chats you guys had?
Gerald, if you want to, otherwise I could talk over you.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, so I think a lot of it was trying to figure out something that I could do. Instability is faster than me, so I couldn't do my normal air. We went over, like, maybe we should rush them to get, because maybe they played a little greedy, but they scouted it really well. And yeah, then he was trying to come up with a strategy that we could to do every time, but like I said, I think they're just a little faster than I am, so I kind of held the team down. But We had, like I said, the last game, the strategy was good. It's the execution. I think that's the problem. Is their execution was a little. I wasn't able to. The first game, my proxy was a little. The third game, my proxy was a little gate. And the fourth game, I think our strategy went pretty well. So. Just.
You took it into the long run. That was definitely ultra endgame there.
Yeah, PvP is hard. I think we'd matched up anything besides double Protoss. I think we'd matched up better then.
But we might have other opportunities going forward.
Well, in stability, normally plays Terran or
no? She's a
no. She's Protoss through and through, right?
Oh my god! Because I noticed in the first game she ever played, she decided to pick Terran.
I think that was. I think that was smurfing.
Not as I recall.
Bye guys, let's get going because you know the Europe's late.
Oh yeah, they're getting sleepy.
Let's get going, guys.
I think everyone is, so we should probably give our European players some time to wind down. So once again,
Oh, are we off for a bit now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, and once again, thank you to MaxPax and Gerald, and also a big thank you to Cham and to Spirit. We're hoping that, we're still getting the format down a little bit, but we don't plan on stopping these.
Yeah, my biggest hope is hopefully some of the pros are teaching some of the Joes here, and we can hopefully have some improvement and make friends along the way.
Yeah.
Yep. The friends along the way is the real reward. Although
guys.
it's nice too.
Spirit members still playing. They've only played one game, right? So.
No, I sent you all 3 of theirs. They're officially done.
Okay. All right. So do we have one more match?
It is just Cham versus Spirit, and that's to decide who's 3rd and 4th.
Okay, let's go do it.
Wait.
Yeah.
When it
they were playing at the same time as you guys.
Right. They played the 3rd and 4th round. Are we still up next? That's what I was asking.
No, you got to be 2nd place. We're not actually going to be doing the deciders round. So congratulations.
Unfortunately, it lasted a little longer than I expected, so I want to give some of the pros.
Yeah, that's totally fine. That's totally fine.
Yep, that's perfectly fine.
And that's why we're still kind of in the testing phase for how to run these.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. And KJ, I guess I'll just leave it up to you now.
Yep, this is Drickit and Hyper Turtle signing off. Everyone, play well, play fair, play often.
Yeah, let's set up the next game. Let's go.
Yeah, I sent you the replays.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm confused. Can you guys help me out here? We don't have any more matches?
No, check your DMs. I sent you Emerald City. That's their first game between Spirit and Cham.
And that's
game
the
2's
last
record.
one.
Yeah, and that is the losers bracket for 3rd and 4th.
All right. Okay, we'll show that on stream, then we'll be done. Thanks, guys.
No problem. Thank you, KJ, for helping me organize this. Couldn't have been done without you, I swear.
Yep. Later, guys.
Bye.
Alright. Long, drawn-out close-up on War Buddies here. So we're going to be doing the last match off of replay within a VOD. Figure that out.
How many layers deep can we go?
Inception, dude. In the lower right, we have the Red Zerg. He is. He is.
He is. I'm Ron Burgundy.
I'm Spartacus. Alright, he is.
Looks.
Okay. We got this now. His teammate, the Yellow Zerg, he is.
Sergeant ABC.
Looks like there was a little bit of Cham lag there.
Opponents, the light blue Protoss. And his teammate, the blue Protoss.
Revenant Rage.
Revenant Rage does sometimes jump around between Protoss and Terran. So we are going double Zerg versus double Terran right now. And once again, this is maybe a little bit more of a defensible map. So do you say double Terran is favored?
I would say against. I mean, on paper, when you get rid of the players, right? I think double Terran probably stronger than double Zerg in 2v2. I would say, yeah.
Yeah, both Zergs have taken their naturals. Spawn-in pools, good way along the way. And this one I did not get to watch, although I gotta say, the ones before this, even though I was kind of watching them out of the corner of my eye, for most of them, I was kind of busy just making sure that everyone was in the right channels they needed to be. Discord and
Understandable.
StarCraft as well. But this is the one I'm most curious about because I have no knowledge of how this ends. So I don't.
It'll be interesting to see how Revenant plays with his Terran.
Yeah, he plays all right with them. I've taken him on myself when he's been playing Terran. But he is, him and Sergeant ABC are some of the less experienced players, but Revenant Rage definitely has been elevating his game a lot more consistently than Sergeant has. He's been learning a lot of tricks, making his way upward. And he has put in a lot of time.
That's good to see.
Marine. Yep. Got a Marine chasing down an Overlord. Got a Queen driving away a Reaper.
Nothing too unexpected from anyone here just yet.
Yep. Cham taking his third. And Sergeant right now is just droning up. Spirit with the starport started.
Yeah, not too much. Not too much gonna stand out until I think the tech starts getting rolling here, especially for the Zergs. We're trying to just kind of get the standard link speed, get a couple expansions, go from
keep
there.
The Reapers from doing more damage than they're supposed to.
That's right.
Queen's bounce on the trampolines there. And the game continues. Alright, Sergeant is taking a little bit of a peek into the enemy main. Seeing what Revenant Rage is up to. Ling speed just about to finish for Cham. And we have a Banshee on the way from Spirit. As well as a couple
Cloak Banshees.
So.
Cloak Banshees and Hellions pretty standard in 1v1 as an opener against Zerg. So I like that choice. You can get some good damage with both of those.
And since there isn't much in the way of professional 2v2, you're going to see them falling mostly on 1v1 strategies. And as we see in a lot of others, they have a couple of Hellions with a couple of Reapers with them.
That's right.
Cloak about halfway done. We have a Baneling nest just about to complete for Sergeant.
Shouldn't be much for the Zergs to really, start doing until they kind of understand what they're up against. And I think seeing this many Banshees, Cham probably is thinking that, this many Hellions rather. He's probably thinking the Banshees could be on the
3 starports
on the table.
3
when
starports
Fusion Core is on the way. That feels
we
like
are
battle
going
cruisers to
battle
me.
Cruiser from our friend Revenant Rage.
Yeah, that feels like battle cruisers. That is for sure.
And that is the kind of unit that can get a lot done without having to be too experienced with them. On the other hand, look at Sergeant ABC with all the macro hatcheries and a hatchery at the gold base. So we are really seeing our Joes step up here. They know what they want to do, and they're going to do it.
That's right. Yeah, well, looks like there's going to be enough gas for maybe 2 battle cruisers here in just a second, but can't quite utilize that third one just yet.
Exactly. I think that was a lot of starports to put down before you have the economy for it. Live and learn. Either way, we do have 2 under construction. We have 2 cloaked banshees just about to hit. There is a spore crawler, but it's a little ways back.
Yep. It's going to provide a little bit of vision, get maybe 1 or 2 shots off, but the Queen, when it's by itself, really cannot stand toe-to-toe with the Banshee, so they're going to start poking away at the drones.
Sergeant ABC does lose a Queen. And Cham now following suit with the Baneling Nest and the Roach upgrades. And Sergeant ABC, yep, he gets everyone back to work.
Ooh, does almost clear out those Banshees, but it looks like there is just going to be enough damage on those. Oh, actually, a little bit of miss micro there from Spirit, but ultimately does save that Banshee so that it can fly into those Queens instead.
One of them does escape with a little bit of flesh left on it. A little bit of metal anyway. Yamato gun being researched, and even more battle cruisers coming out from Revenant Rage.
Well, if Spirit can do well enough to just keep the Zergs kind of off of his back, eventually these battle cruisers, will be quite valuable. So it's going to be whether or not they can make it to that stage of the game that's the question.
Right. If you have a decent number of battle cruisers and you keep getting them away to where they can repair, the damage can be incredibly cumulative.
Mm-hmm. That is true.
Marine Hellion Siege Tank from Spirit. And I think for now he's just keeping the defense down on the bases. Cham and Sergeant ABC have quite the creep spread going. There are a lot of pimples on that half of the map now.
Yeah, it's going to be good to keep the vision. Spirit, is kind of setting up defensive positions here just to kind of protect the expansions that have already been
and that,
been taken.
That area, as we saw with MaxPax, an excellent place to take advantage of high ground. And your
That is true.
To get past there.
I'm going to clear these rocks, just make it a little bit more navigable here between the bases.
Navigable? I don't know. And I refuse to Google it.
I am going to just assume that I'm correct when I say navigable, and I will never look it up to prove myself wrong.
You're a bit more of a language expert than me, as evidenced by your much fancier name.
Well, that's all just a ruse.
Oh, I know. You have no idea what you're talking about, and you regret the tattoo you got, right?
No regrets, War Bunnies. These Marines might have some regrets, though, as they get absolutely biled in the face by these Ravagers.
Yep. Hellbat's hanging out with them as well, and they do have the medevac there. Revenant Rage with, I believe, 5 battle cruisers.
Yeah, starting to look pretty scary. And actually, Cham is going for Adrenal, +1 melee, Carapace, and Ultras. Not what you would normally want to combat battle cruisers, unfortunately.
Not necessarily. It's not. They can bite, they can claw, but they cannot jump. And I like.
Not yet, at least.
No, not unless you hop in the campaign and you get that special mutation. And I like Cham's. I like his supply depot walls. Now, Sergeant ABC has had the gold for quite a while. Right now, Spirit only just about to take the one for that team. And I
looking like a relatively healthy army.
Yep, Cham maxed out. Spirit not that far behind. And Revenant Rage and Sergeant ABC, in the hundreds. So this could be a very interesting match when it comes in. A lot of the story is going to come down to how well the battle cruisers be dealt with. I do see Cham has gone double Spire. So not only once those are done, which will take a while, they'll be able to get Corruptors out and upgrade their armor and their attack at the same time. And here comes the fleet.
Battle cruisers are revealed here, so double Spire is the choice for Cham, which is going to be absolutely necessary. Sergeant also drops the Spire.
Before he saw them, but I think he already had an idea what was going on.
Yeah, that's very possible. Going to need to really.
I think that supply depot wall I was praising ended up being a bit of an Achilles heel.
That's right. Spirit also kind of flying into a spore forest here from Sergeant ABC. Does lose one of his medevacs.
Sergeant ABC and defenses up. Armies are clashing.
Oh
Siege
no,
tank
Spirit
dies.
caught badly out of position here.
Right. Siege tank's dying almost as soon as they siege. Battlecruiser still giving some pretty good support. Sergeant ABC is down to 88 supply, so he definitely
I think
felt
these
that.
battle cruisers may just roll over in combination with Spirit's army here.
Spires take quite a while to make. And sometimes by the time they're ready, the damage has already been done. This is a lot of swarming going on, though.
Yeah, these Lings and Banes are going to try to crash on top of the Bio-Tank army, but the answer for the battlecruisers is yet to be known here. These Queens are going to do their best to transfuse what they can, but the teleport away is good enough from Revenant Rage to save those, and the Yamato guns are coming down on those Queens as well.
We've seen the Yamato guns, so Revenant Rage definitely pulling his weight here. And that is a lot of battlecruisers. Cham is hitting the gold base, which does have a planetary on it.
Now these Corruptors are going to go in and try to take out these battlecruisers, but the Yamato guns will ensure that they get a couple of them right off the bat, and there's just not enough here to deal with those and the BCs. It's just not looking good for the Zerg team of Cham and Sarge.
No, I'm afraid not. Cham does still have a decent supply, but the deal is, okay, he's got all these Corruptors. Those Corruptors cannot do anything about the Spirit has. Oopsie. I think that was supposed to be Yamato. I have made
that teleport is not the play, and he's going to lose a lot of these battlecruisers unnecessarily. I do still think this is an advantage for the Terran team, but that was a wound he did not have to inflict on himself there.
One of the big things I worry about, there is so much supply on these Corruptors right now, and those aren't going to be able to do nearly as much against the army Spirit has. He's the one with the top supply right now as far as Terran goes. But
that's right.
It is the classic tragedy, the fact that T and Y are right next to each other on the keyboard. You know, you think it's a pain when you accidentally make one swarm host for your Zergling army. Try Yamato in a Corruptor. And instead, tactically jump in your entire fleet right up to them. I'm pretty sure that's what happened anyway.
That's very possible. That is very possible. Obviously, a lot of pros will customize the hotkeys to avoid things like that, but a regular ladder player might not understand the risk that he's posing by using default hotkey setups.
T and Y do not mix, much like electricity.
No, they do not.
And we have even more upgrades going on from Revenant Rage.
Yeah, these battlecruisers have just, they've done the damage that they need to, that it doesn't really even matter if most of them die. They're going to get good enough trades on the Corruptors as this fight goes on, and it's just looking good for the Terran team here.
Sergeant ABC's Corruptors are kind of standing idle, or floating idle, I guess I should say.
Yeah, I think it was over even if he went in, but that is going to do it.
Alright, Spirit and Revenant Rage are taking game one. Revenant Rage showing that he's not too shabby with him.
Yeah, very well done. I agree, very well done.
Honestly, especially against Zerg, but almost any time, the combination of air and ground if you're on a team, making sure that your opponent has to have stuff that can counter both. Because if your opponent has to go with a lot of Vikings or Phoenix or Corruptors, they end up with certain things they can't target. And we are heading straight into the next replay.
You are watching
In the upper left, we have the Red Zerg. He is
Cham.
And his teammate, the Zerg, also in the red.
Sergeant ABC.
Their opponents, up one map. The Blue Terrans, first of all.
Revenant Rage.
And his teammate.
Spirit.
So here we go, battling tooth and nail for third place right now.
Reclamation, as we've alluded to, is one of those team maps that I think is relatively straightforward for the first 4 bases, but there's just so much open space that exists between the two sort of kind of diagonally cut halves of this map that Zerg players can take advantage of. So we'll see we'll see if maybe that's in the cards here for Sarge and Cham.
Indeed, and wish this hadn't been selected so the teams are just one color, because I don't really know which player's production is which. But we do have
that's a
one
good
player
point.
who finished the spawning pool a lot earlier than the other. I guess that would be Sergeant ABC.
That is Sarge, in fact, yes. So he's going to be the second Zerg, and the first Terran will be Spirit, it looks like. So the pros are on top, the Joes are on the bottom for the production tab.
That's a good way to remember it. Thank you for those mnemonics.
That's right.
And here we go. We do have some Zerglings already out from our friend Sergeant ABC. So far, they are hanging out at the top of the ramp. I want to see whether he's going to go on the offense, because this is one where you can get in between the two bases, although also potentially get surrounded as well. This is also one where the Terran is going to want to wall off next to the rocks in two separate places here, usually. Reaper
yeah, a little bit tough to control that a choke that wide. It's across two locations, but tanks will make that slightly more.
Yeah, the one that isn't on the ramp is a lot easier to wall off. The one that's at the ramp with those rocks is actually a little bit tricky to get the right angle on.
Sure. Yeah, that's. I think that's definitely true.
And all around the mulberry bush, the Zergs chase the Reaper.
These Reapers getting a couple of free links here. Not too bad. Not a bad start here.
Nothing to complain
these
about
Reapers.
on top of scouting.
Yeah.
Probably want to stay away from the Queens. The Queen does not get bounced. That's extra points for those keeping score. Cham does have the Queens out. Reapers doing some damage here and there on the hatchery as it gets built. And then more Reapers join in. Speed is not complete for either of the Zergs yet, although Cham's is just about to complete.
Does look like these Reapers are actually going to be able to get a cancel on this hatchery from
You don't
Cham.
usually think about
really
Reapers,
unfortunate.
For that purpose, but when there's enough of them, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, and it looks like this sort of pseudo Reaper all in is actually going to get on top of some of these Queens, get some good damage as well. Need to be a little bit careful with these Lings and not get surrounded, and unfortunately they do. Well, not nearly as much damage as I think they were hoping to get.
Well, honestly, getting a cancel that far into the production of a hatchery, that's it's nice to have achieved. And also, they forced out a lot of Lings that aren't going to be able to be drones. So I think
that is true.
I think they could be happy enough with that, although, as they say, Reapers don't necessarily scale well. Oh, look at... Everyone's getting right on top of them, but the reflexes are there. The grenades go down.
Now, these Reapers are going to try to get as many of these Lings as they can before the true fight starts, but unfortunately these Reapers on the left side are getting surrounded by Lings, so they're not going to get the trade that they are looking for there. And I think that there may actually be an ability for the Zergs to start to ward away this attack entirely, as they're now fully surrounded and they have nowhere to go.
And the bottom.
Oh no.
And during this,
a single Reaper gets away.
Right, Revenant Rage was still building SCVs, but he has not been teching up. Spirit just finished the factory, but this could... That dedication to those Reapers could set them a little bit behind. We're just going to have to see. The Lings are on their way, so now it is the Zerg turn. See how much damage they can do. Fortunately, orbitals and command centers can lift up, so...
They should be able to get some of these SCVs here, force the Reapers onto the higher ground, so they are going to be able to respond in kind here against the Terran. And I think the fact that a Spire is on the way for Cham here is also going to pose a threat here.
That could be very beneficial. Command centers, before they're turned into orbitals, can actually load up to 5 SCVs, but it's easy to forget that in the heat of battle. It's not something you see figure in a lot, except when trying to take faraway expansions.
Yeah, and even then, the game is usually so chaotic, so difficult by then that you kind of just figure it's not worth the time and the attention. But that is true. A lesser utilized feature, certainly, of the
No, and I
command
think
center.
the same the same upgrade that allows you to store 2 extra infantry units in each bunker also allows 2 more SCVs in a planetary or a command center. So the next time you want to impress your friends, go ahead and use that play in front of them. Oh,
Yeah, if you thought that NeoSteel was useless before, just wait until you meet the guy who's making it to store more SCVs in the command center.
Take cover. All right, Baneling Nest is almost done for Sergeant ABC, and we have 3 Mutalisks on the way from Cham, and I have seen Cham use Mutalisks in some of these before, and they can stay at large for quite a while under his control.
Yeah, I think the 9 mutas, it looks like maybe 10 so far that have been produced, are really going to be kind of a thorn in the side of these Terran players. Going to try to get as much as they can.
He is not going halfway there with the Mutalisks. He wants a good flock, or as they say, a murder of Mutalisks.
Who can blame him?
All right, he is, I think, trying to keep them out of view. I'm curious whether he's going to be sending them to the other side of the map straight away, or, yep, he is joining in the fun and using the Mutalisk to help take out the Hellbats.
Yeah, these Hellbats really are going to be the thing that's threatening the, obviously the Ling Bane army. So just being able to get those for free is such a huge advantage. The mutas, if they're, if the first time you're seeing the mutas are as they have hit the field, you really start to kind of feel a little bit of the pressure and panic set in as you're trying to just save as much as you can at not only the expansions but the main base. You can't let mutas, sit over production with impunity.
It is very hard to chase mutas down if they're just going from one mineral field to the other, especially not if Speedlings and Waddle Boys are joining them. That is
Spirit does get a few targets on those Banes, but there's just too many here, and it looks like the Zergs are going to get a little bit of revenge for that early Reaper pressure and are going to start doing a tremendous amount of economic damage here.
You see how it feels? Not so nice.
No, it is not.
Zerglings are a little bit busy chewing on the supply depots and trapping the otherlings behind them. Just a little bit of coordination needs to be done. There we go. One of the constant traps when you're getting the hang of the game is making sure your units don't get too distracted with destructions. You want them attacking the things that are capable of attacking back.
That's right, and just only a few Marines remaining here underneath this medevac means that the Marines are going to not last very long against these mutas, and the Marauders standing around with nothing to shoot. Spirit does GG.
At that point, Cham was over 100 supply.
Sergeant.
And Sergeant was twice the supply of Spirit, so hey. Okay.
Well done to get a map back there.
Yep. We are going to be going the moment of truth here. Game 3 for 3rd place. Next game is queuing up. Yeah, and I was wondering about this.
You are watching FSL.
Revenant Rage did switch races. Now, in the upper left, the red Zerg is
Cham.
His teammate, the yellow Zerg, he is
Sergeant ABC.
Their opponents, the blue player, now a Protoss, he is
Revenant Rage.
And his teammate, the Terran, in the light blue, he is
Spirit.
This is one of the things. In FSL, we do allow switching races in between matches, as long as you don't try to distract your opponent from the fact that you chose something else. So
I'm surprised to see him go to the Protoss here. I think it was I think Terran was working out just fine in the series, but maybe just trying to mix things up.
Possibly. I'm expecting him to. I'm expecting there's some strategy he wants to take as as Protoss. So a different direction they want to take things. And in the end, it can also just come down to which race you're more comfortable with. And hey, I mean, if Cham is willing to switch to Protoss all of a sudden during a tournament, why not Revenant Rage?
I'm sure Revenant Rage right now is thinking to himself, I'm basically Clem, so why not just go Protoss here?
Alright. Spawn and pool completing first for Sergeant ABC again. I think
Revenant with 2 pylons before his Cyber Core. I'm not familiar with this build, but maybe he knows something I don't.
Well, that can be one of the disadvantage of jumping back and forth. It can definitely throw things off a little bit. But I think the big thing he's trying to do is just wall that entrance there.
Yeah, I think walling that off obviously is a good call.
It's possible that one of the pylons just didn't reach one of the places he wanted to build the other structure. We'll see. But yeah, what were we saying?
I was just going to say, I also like the idea that you maybe want to play defensively against Zergs and wall off early, and just secure the, secure the expansion.
And I believe Rahana, it is a map where there is kind of one main ground entrance, and there's the stalker jump spots. Otherwise, it's their air. But also, this is one of the ones where, boy, the expansions can get further and further out of reach.
Yeah, I think the difficulty of expanding is much higher on this map in general. Once you get past, your natural, just because both of the options for third bases on the right and the left are just very, very wide open. You're never going to be able to really, secure both of those with your combined forces at the same location. You're going to have to kind of pick where it is that you are defending. So maybe a 2-base timing could be in the cards here for one of these teams.
Might very well be, and it looks like Cham is electing to take the southern expansions. Already upgrading to a lair. And we have okay, and here's our answer to what Revenant Rage is up to. Dark Templars and Proxy Gateway.
Yeah, and his teammate Spirit going for Hellions and Banshees to suggest that they maybe want to just harass this game out of existence and just do enough damage that they can force the win by default here.
Well, Dark Templar are a great tool for that. If you manage to get in, you manage to do what you need to. And look at this, Sergeant ABC about to create a expansion right next. Yep. Unfortunately, the proxy was found right there, and that was just Sergeant ABC moving some units to defend the expansion. Sergeant ABC and Cham, their expansions are pretty far apart from each other, and one of the tricky things with these team games that I've learned the hard way is that if you're not right together, well, boy, it gets all the harder to defend everything. Here come the Hellion DT combo.
That is something that should strike fear in the hearts of every Zerg player on Earth. Yeah, the DTs are going to come in fighting against Lings, but the fact that they have Hellions to support means that this is actually a relatively decent fight for them. Most of the Lings cleaned up, and now the Queens are in the crosshairs. And, sometimes a lower-level player will think, oh, I've got detection, I'm safe against these DTs. No, it turns out they still do 45 damage per swipe, and they can just fight you straight up.
Here come more of them, too. But yes, one of my favorite old MS-DOS games, Prince of Persia 2, The Shadow and the Flame. Hellions and Dark Temple. Alright, he does start the Archon merge, but all for naught. Now his proxy is still there, but I think they're done with this rush for the moment. Or this push.
Yeah, didn't quite get as much as they needed here, I think. Obviously did get, a decent beginning to that engagement on the Lings, but now we're looking at Revenant Rage without much to show for it.
Well, they did cancel Sergeant ABC's third. Spirit getting Stim Pack almost finished right now, and Charge just getting started from Revenant Rage.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Cham is checking around to see whether Revenant Rage had that idea anywhere else.
I'm interested to see. I think Charge Archon follow up for Revenant Rage. I think is a good play here. It's a pretty reliable, easy to control army that's going to be more or less good at trading against almost everything. But one of the things that it's not good at trading against are Mutalisks. And unfortunately, what we're about to see from Cham is a bunch of Mutalisks.
Mutalisk served him very well in the previous match. And right now, honestly, both Revenant Rage and Sergeant ABC, the Joes, are really behind in supply compared to the pros right now. Both in the 80s for Cham and Spirit. And this is very much what we were talking about. The third and onward, kind of hard to defend, although Cham has already taken a fourth at this point. And here comes the Zealand Swarm.
I think these mutas are going to have an absolute field day across the map, to be quite honest with you.
Who wants a glaive worm? You want a glaive worm. You want a glaive worm.
And whether you like it or not, you're going to get it, actually. You're
you
actually
and your two
going to
buddies
get
over
it.
there, and Changeling just hanging out there looking around.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be very interesting when these hit, because Spirit is stepping forward a little bit, scanning around. Ooh. Moving ahead with the siege tanks and marines, but a couple of Archons.
Oh, this is, I think, a good play for Revenant and Spirit. You gotta, sometimes if the opponent is playing mutas, the best thing you can do is just go across the map and punch them in the face, because you're forcing them to fight you straight up, which is exactly what the mutas don't want to be doing. And this army is not massive. This army is not massive, but it is certainly big enough to take a very good trade against Lings and mutas.
The siege tanks can do an excellent job just controlling the position, limiting what can get near them. Oh, but here come the Mutalisks when the Marines are off to play. See two siege tanks getting picked off just like that. I like the Archons. They're pretty good against both mutas and Zerglings.
Yeah, the Archon's taking a really good trade against the Lings. The mutas do feel confident enough to get on top of them now, and the Lings will help to clean up as much of this Marine ball as possible. The tank falls as well. Most of the mutas do die, but the army of Spirit and Revenant Rage has been pushed back. Now, the problem here, I think, is that too much has just been lost, and Cham agrees.
Just like that, GG. Spirit was ahead in supply, and the Mutalisk strategy had to be abandoned. So Revenant Rage and Spirit were the third place in this Pros and Joes series. Now, everyone watching, please do stay tuned in the future. We will be doing plenty more of these. And Gilmyoja, thank you very much for joining me. Anything you wanted to plug before you sign off?
No, thanks for having me. I enjoy watching FSL when I can, and these various events, so I appreciate it. You can always check out the Twitch stream. I'm there live, usually 3 to 4 times a week, with tournament play, 1v1, Grandmaster ladder, etc.
Where do I find the option to raid? I haven't actually been trying that before.
You can just type /raid and then the name of the channel, and it'll send you right over.
Yeah. Let me take a quick look at my favorite farm.
We face our fate, roll the dice, intense drumming the heart. with each move, proving battles.